Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 4 of the BJ Destruction League, brought to you by Freaka TV and Alpha X. My name is Rushy. So glad that you guys are here for day number 4 of a very fun and exciting team league here with the top members of the GSL and Circuit squaring off face-to-face in a team battle for glory. We're arriving towards the end of our regular tournament play, and soon we will be getting ourselves into a playoff situation, but we have a couple more days of regular action to cover here as we get ready for the rest of our series. So, of course, we're going to take a little time this morning to talk to you about the league and what the different components of it entail and what you need to know to be informed about the different parts of the league. So, of course, there are 5 different teams that have all been competing over the last 3 days, squaring off against each other in best-of-1 matches to try and position their team high enough in the standings so they can have a shot at the playoff money starting on Thursday and Friday. And of course, we're going to take a look at that overall format here, where each round has a potential for a player to win some extra money. If for some reason the player ends up being the MVP of their team, they will get an extra chunk of that change. But ultimately, all of these teams are squaring off to try and play for our top prize of 4 million won, which is a good amount of money here. Kind of positions yourself in, excuse me, it's 8 million won. That's my apologies. All in all, it's a very, very strong prize pool to split amongst 3 players. Get yourselves positionally placed for GSL, the upcoming season 2. So right now we do have our standings. We do have one lone team, Big Brother Cure, sitting atop the board. SSB and Beef Rice Stew still looking for their first wins in this series, and they're going to be our first match today to square off and see who can secure an extra point in this series. Of course, 3 Zerg opening up very strong on day number 1, and it could not topple Big Brother Cure. They have the day off today, so they will be able to play a little bit more. But we do have 3 players with all kill status. Of course, we have Dongregu from day number 1 and Solar getting an all kill in day number 1 as well. But it's our Protoss player, Zest, who gets the reverse sweep yesterday to save themselves from an 0-2 status. And they're going to be going up against Big Brother Cure, so that extra energy and momentum going into today will be extra important. So here's our matchup for today. It's going to be SSB versus Beef Rice Stew, Sue, SOS, and Bunny versus Trap, Patience, and Creator. Again, these are 2 teams battling it out for their first win in the Season 2 of the BJ Destruction League. Our second match will be Big Brother Cure versus Why Are You Here? Big Brother Cure looking to continue their reign of undefeated play. Today is their last day of regular play, so if they can secure a 4-0 victory today, they will be atop our bracket going into the playoffs. So here's a quick look at our matchups here. Sue and Creator both having great honors in this BJ Destruction League, but the other 2 players are currently working on trying to contribute to that as well. So all of our players outstanding, very, very storied, consistent players in the not only the BJ Destruction League, but also in GSL and events around the world. So, we are going to be jumping into our first game here. We're going to find out in a moment who our first 2 competitors are, but I know that there is a lot riding on today's performance. The bracket sits that we're going to take the top 4 teams. So this win is very important for both of these teams if they would like to remain in this playoff bracket. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a moment. We're going to jump into Death Aura. Gonna be spawning in the bottom right. I actually don't know who our bottom right player is. I believe it's SOS. It is absolutely SOS. And in the top left for Beef Rice Stew. Give it up for Patience. So it is going to be a PvP to start things off. We had quite a bit of PvP yesterday with Beef Rice Stew and Why Are You Here? Of course, if you were here yesterday, you saw Zest absolutely dismantle Beef Rice Stew one at a time in a set of 3 back-to-back PvPs. Now, I know Patience is looking for a couple extra wins here as well. Patience almost at securing an all-kill for his team as well, but wasn't quite able to topple the whole team. So anyways, as I was talking about, while this game gets fired up, we're going to keep an eye on where these probes decide to go and what buildings they may or may not place outside of their base. But it is the top 4 teams out of 5 that will move on to play in our playoffs on Thursday and Friday. So both of these teams still searching for their first team win. This is very, very important. More than likely, this will be the deciding match here. Now both teams will be playing on tomorrow's production on Wednesday. But definitely a lot different scenarios on the line. Of course, Beef Rice Stew in Patience Trap and Creator have a little bit of a bigger hill to climb, where they'll be playing the 3 Zerg players who are currently sitting second place in our bracket. Where Why Are You Here will be squaring off against SSB. So it is possible that SSB, with a win today, can secure a pretty strong position in the BG Destruction League Season 2. So a lot on the line for these two teams today as we get set up and ready to go here. It is going to be similar openings here for our 2 teams, both players opting into the double adept opening. See if they can get, see if they can get some good scouting. And they are going to meet each other in the middle of the map here for a brief amount of time, and now a very delicate dance begins. Of course, SOS, a very storied, tricky player in not only the GSL, but also the World events. And there's definitely a lot of trickiness involved with Protoss these days. So it'll be interesting to see what SOS decides to do to best use all of his Protoss units here in 2020 and the second season. Of course, I think the maps are really interesting as well, providing a lot of variety and a lot of interesting scenarios here. Very nice force field on the ramp is going to force a recall back home for SOS. He does end up losing one of those adepts, and in a mirror matchup like this, in a game of numbers, it's so important that you can eliminate any advantage that your opponent might be able to have in the game. So now our 2 players taking 2 different paths here. Twilight Council going down for Patience here in the red, but it is going to be a Stargate for SOS in the blue, and Hallucinated Phoenix is going to swoop on in and get a brief look at that. So he does know that that is the direction he is headed. Forge almost complete as well, so Patience going to try and value those +1 ground upgrades. SOS does have quite an adept force here. This is a rather overwhelming number. Those adepts do trade pretty well against sentries and stalkers. And it looks like SOS is going to try and be a little more aggressive here. He does cancel the Stargate. So SOS already dropping a few mind games here in this series, doubling down on his adept production. He's going to pick up Resonating Glaives. So the question is going to be whether or not Patience reads this. He's probably, I mean, I think he's going to continue committing into more Stalker production. In fact, he is. He's going to grab that Blink upgrade. He is preparing for Phoenix or Void Rays to come over, and now he does get a good scout on this. He realizes, oh no, this is not good. He does hallucinate a couple of those Stalkers to indicate that he may or may not be continuing that Stalker production. I don't know if SOS has had a chance to look back at home and see that Patience has hallucinated that scout into the base. But right now, dropping an incredible amount of cannons and shield batteries. And SOS seems a little confused here. He's not entirely sure what's happening, but he's got to know that this is a big fake by Patience. Patience is just sitting here. He knows that he's got a good read on the situation. Now it's a matter of SOS acting on it. And more and more of those structures are on their way down. I think at this point, SOS might just leap on in and try and take an engagement here. And he absolutely is. He's going to wrap around to the back side here. Shades are going to be allowed to complete. That Resonating Glaives upgrade is done and complete. SOS, you have so many units still at the front. Oh my gosh, would a wraparound might have been effective? We're not sure at this point. But a Dark Shrine about to finish up for Patience here. SOS has his own on the way, but 1 or 2 Warpins of DTs will send the Adepts of SOS back home. And Patience is actually going to try and get an aggressive before this point. He's going to be able to warp in across the map. And this is going to cause a lot of damage. Although there is an observer in the natural. That will provide a little bit of coverage here. It's just a matter of whether or not those are going to stay home. And I think the observer went out onto the map. Oh, this is not good for SOS. Patience is immediately going to be able to jump on top of the production here and clean things off. Now, SOS does get 11 probe kills, so he can afford to lose at least a little bit of the probe production here. But, I mean, this could have been great damage that would have gone unmitigated by SOS, and Patience does at least get a chance to get across the map and deal the same amount of damage. In fact, he's going to get just a little bit more here. Of course, SOS now having his own Dark Shrine as well. And there's no detection up in the main. I don't even think there's an observer. Oh, there's one observer. One observer for Patience. Where's it at is the question. It's nowhere near the main. That's the correct answer, at least at this point. So all in all, Patience losing double the amount of workers. So SOS once again able to leverage this, and SOS is, I think, still a little bit confused here. I think he's going to have to go back and take a look at the replay on this one and realize that his opponent did get a decent scout off on him. The observer sitting at the top of the ramp here trying to watch for those Adepts to come back in. I think this is going to be a shade no, it's not going to be allowed to finish at this point. Just continuing to get more and more work done on the back side of this. Ooh, Archon straying out just a little bit too far. That is going to get picked off. That is a valuable kill here for SOS. Patience bleeding a couple of units here and there that he does not want to give up, at least at this point. And that Adept is allowed to shade. Good Stalker coverage back at home. Will be able to get on top of that Warp Prism. Will not get a kill, but it will push it away and damage it enough that it's probably going to have to be more methodical if it does want to come in. And SOS throws away so many of these Adepts, really only getting 2 more worker kills. SOS has kind of been back and forth here on the efficiency of his trades and not quite getting the efficiency he was hoping for here. So Patience is going to feel confident enough to step out to that 3rd base location. Now SOS still does have a couple of proxies here. He's got a couple of pylons on the on the 9 o'clock position and at the this is actually where he proxied the DTs. Oh, that's hilarious. That's actually hilarious. I figured SOS would have built that back at home, but nope, he just decided to proxy that out on the map. But he does have the gateway proxy on the 1 o'clock position of the map, so that will still be available. He can still get some fast warp ins. If he wanted to, he could get DTs down and on the map right now. But I think he's just going to stay more focused on this. There is a disruptor out at the center of the map for both players, so I think the micro focus is going to shift in that direction. Big Blink forward here in the center of the map. We're going to have to see how those disruptors decide to engage on top of each other. And I think one of the disruptors actually gets picked off for SOS. I don't see it on his map. A Big Blink forward for SOS picks off the disruptor of his opponent. So both players making the most of the situation here. Now, Patience has spotted that Dark Shrine. So the Dark Shrine is under fire right now. That will eventually get cleaned up. Slowly but surely, this Adept is going to work its way over to it. But SOS is going to try and protect it for as long as he possibly can, and he will zone that off, at least now for the time being. SOS does get the proxy killed off as well. So we kind of step into an interesting game here. SOS and Patience kind of just duking it out against each other. Cannons sitting in the mineral lines for SOS will prevent some of these DT warp ends from being incredibly effective. Oh, that disruptor getting dangerously low. Okay, that will get cleaned off. Wondered if Patience might try to knock down that DT shrine, but doesn't quite deal with it just yet. No cannon down at the third base. That causes a little bit of problems here for SOS. He will have to get one placed down. But this is a big engagement here by Patience. A lot of Blink Stalkers. Those disruptors will not be as effective with Blink on the map, making those units able to dodge around and be very, very mobile. Oh, some good disruption or purification novas trying to get more damage done. SOS and Patience dancing very, very closely. Both of the disruptors of Patience actually do get picked off, so Patience is going to have to fall back here. It's a big blink forward by SOS to try and pick off some more of those stalkers. The stalker count right now slightly in Patience's favor. But I think it's just a little bit of a back and forth right now. Patience now moving into the slow Zealot warp-in phase of this PvP, trying to get some run-bys done as quickly as he possibly can. But those Zealots are rather slow. There are cannons littering mineral lines. In fact, that third base has not yet been secured. Once again, DT is going to make that difficult for SOS to secure. And finally, that DT shrine does go down for SOS. But Patience is able and allowed to continue to be more annoying with his DT warp-ins. So we are going to see warp prism speed being researched and observer speed. I think it was just observer speed by SOS. Now we're taking a peek at that count here. I mean, Patience's stalker count is significant now, 24 to 16, and he just jumps up to 32. He has double the amount of stalkers of SOS. Patience leaping forward here. But it's going to be speed Zealots that can aid in this fight and tank at least a little bit for the army of SOS. But it's going to be a matter of how these two engage each other. Patience with a large amount of disruptors. SOS continuing to get those immortals out on the field. And I'm not quite sure what's happening here with SOS's warping in the top right corner of the map. I think he's just being patient, trying to wait. I think he is just trying to wait for a moment here. But Patience has a large chunk of supply at the 3 o'clock location on the map, just waiting to pounce here. Both players trying to take advantage of weak moments in the macro and micro cycle of their opponent. And that's going to be a nice place to start here. SOS getting one disruptor shot off on his opponent here. But this is going to be a big double run by here. DT's in the main. It's going to be Zealots in the third, and this is going to have to be respected. I don't think SOS can hold this down. Oh, that third base is going to fall, and that makes this very, very difficult for SOS to bounce back from. He's almost going to have to go all in on the back side of this because he's lost 23 workers at this point, and that's going to be a very difficult economic hurdle to come back from. And he just still does not have any answer for those Zealots all back at home. So, yep, SOS going to leap into the natural, although he has a really nice choke here with the Disruptors. Those Disruptors can zone out this area rather effectively, so Patience is going to have to be creative if he wants to protect his base. But instead, it just looks like they're just going to go trade against each other. Oh, an entire Purification Nova, just dumpsters. 5 or 6 Stalkers of SOS. Yeah, and SOS is just it's just impossible to be across the map everywhere at the same time. Although it gets a really nice connection here with all of those Disruptors. SOS being very, very efficient and effective here. Don't let the big supply number fool you. 141 to 104. I mean, the armies are almost dead even. So this is effectively becoming a big base trade scenario here. Oh, SOS getting a huge Disruption Nova off on his opponent as well. And again, Patience is going to have to respect that here. Big blink forward is going to get on top of yet another Disruptor. The Disruptor count of Patience is dangerously low. That army supply of SOS is all he has. There is no more army behind this. I mean, his production is shot, his economy is shot. He's got the gas, but he just does not have any way to produce. And SOS is not going to trade as effectively as he hopes. He is going to reunite with the remainder of his army, so he will have access to all of his units, but he's just lost so much. Patience has a bank. He has production here. SOS has 0 probes. 0. Not a single one. And that's going to make it very difficult for him to stay in this game. But he's going to try and fight it out here. That proxy pylon is going to just grab a half-second glimpse of his opponent's Stalkers. But SOS just has to run across the map. He can't defend on this. He knows that he needs to try and race his opponent. So the question now becomes, can SOS finish off Patience in time? I don't know if he can or not. Again, every unit precious in this scenario. He does eliminate the Observer here. I almost would love to see that Archon stopped, so that way he'd have access to 2 Dark Templar. But instead, opting to just keep on to the Archon that is warping in. Oh, 1 Stalker gonna try and make these Disruptors go away. And I think this is looking really good for Patience right now. Patience has the faster army kill here. Even if SOS is able to continue cleaning this up, Patience is still able to produce behind this. Well, at least he can toss down a probe. SOS now currently without a Nexus. He's going to be revealed here in just a moment. Oh, what? Oh, no. Oh. That's not what you wanted as SOS. Yeah, Patience now can come across the map. He knows he's got the superior army count, and Patience can just make this work. Oh, that was slick. Look at that. Look at that shift blink. And here's going to be the final engagement. SOS just does not have the army count. Patience has lived up to his namesake, given us a great game 1 here. And GG is going to be called. And Patience is going to win the first map of this series. Well played by both of our players. See, now this was the kind of silliness that I was expecting yesterday when we had all those PvPs on Dial. So I will say that I'm glad that we're getting to see some, I'll call it traditional PvP. My apologies. Turns out I definitely know how to run my production. I don't. don't know how to do it. So we are going to get set up and ready to go for map number 2. We're going to have to see who Team SSB is going to send out next. It's either going to be Sue or Bunny. So we are going to see a PVZ or a PVT. No more PvPs available in this matchup, but worry not. There will be more opportunity potentially in match number 2 if you are a fan of the proxies and the weirdness and just everything that happens in a Protoss versus Protoss. So we'd have to see who's going to be the best matchup here against Patience. My guess would be Sue. Especially since we've been working through the different sizes of the map pool, working from smaller to larger. Of course, Death Aura is always our map number 1, so our players can plan ahead for that special kind of map with those acceleration zones in the center, making that as effective and efficient as possible. So, we'll be getting ready here. Thanks so much for joining me, folks. Nice to see so many of you out and about this morning in our cast. Feel free, hop into your Discords, hop into your group chats. Let them know that we've got more great StarCraft 2 here on day 4 of the BJ Destruction League Season 2. This is a great precursor to the GSL that will be starting at the end of this week. So many great opportunities coming from this season. Of course, we have 3 brand new players that have never, or that will be making their debut as Code S qualifiers. 2 of them are Alpha X natives. Estrella of the United States, Protoss player, and Zaun of Korea, also a Protoss player, will be making their debuts not only for Alpha X, but in Code S as general. And also Prince, another Protoss player playing for Team GP, will be making his debut alongside a host of seasoned GSL veterans. I know that this will be a very exciting season for many players. Lots of players coming back from the military or coming back from temporary retirement. Of course, we still have Parting, who is kind of making his comeback tour here in 2020, on top of seeing players like Tasia that are making a reappearance on the scene as well. So it does look like we are going to jump into map number 2. Oh, we're not going to see Sue just yet. My Zerg heart will have to wait a little bit longer. Spawning in the bottom left of Eternal Empire is our red Protoss Patience, but his opponent in the top right, our blue Terran player. Give it up for Bunny. Oh, I've got conflicting music here. We've done it. In fact, I think it might have been the exact same soundtrack song playing in both the game and my music player. I was like, those sound vaguely familiar. What's going on here? All right, so we are going to have a TVP here for our map number 2. It's going to be on Eternal Empire. I will admit that for Eternal Empire, I would say I'm not super familiar with the TVP matchup on this map specifically. Of course, this is one of the returning maps in the pool for Season 2. And I think it's a good map to bring back. It's a rather standard map. Provides for a lot of interesting longer form games in the series. Of course, both sides of the map have 2 of those rich Vespene geysers, which provides for more interesting games as well. And I think that we will be in store for some good games. Bunny has been having a reasonable amount of success in this series so far. But I know that he's looking to help close out his team a strong, significant chance to make it into the playoffs. Again, SSB with the statistical higher chance to make it to the playoffs if they can win today. Both of these teams still looking for their first team win, as they are both 0-2 in the team league right now. Probe will get picked off, so that will eliminate a little bit of scouting for Patience. Bunny just trying to gain control of the map. Yeah, of course, today we have SSB versus Beef Fry Stew happening right now. Our battle of winless teams. One team will be able to secure that. If Beef Fry Stew is unable to secure a win today, that will put them in a very, very difficult position, as they are slated to face the 3 Zerg tomorrow. And of course, 3 Zerg, our second place team, I would assume that they are all but guaranteed a spot into our playoffs. It's just a matter of positioning at this point, who they're going to be squaring off against, if they're going to be going up against the 2 seed or the 4 seed. So Bunny is going to get back in here. He's going to try and get off to a good start here in game number 2, trying to harass that mineral line just a little bit, get some scouting done. The Adept is going to shade forward and not see too much farther beyond the wall. That Reaper does get picked up. So that's not the start that Bunny was hoping for. Does toss away that Reaper, and Patience will be able to build and probe freely behind it. Now that is going to be a very quick +1 going in the back of Bunny's base. Patience is able to get in here with the Adept. That Adept is going to be able to jump on in and take a scout of that base. Patience is going to see the 3rd base already up for his Terran opponent, but it's going to be a mineral line here under fire, as Patience tries to make the most of this situation with the scouting and harassment potential that he has. So the 2 Oracles will be out on the map now, able to position and continue getting some good damage done. But it is just going to be a +1. Those Oracles got to be very, very careful not to fly directly over top of those Marines. They're going to turn on their lasers, and they are going to start whittling away at the mineral line once again. Patience is jumping out to a bit of an economic lead. Patience has his 3rd base on site, already warping in. It's about 3/4 of the way done. Once again, Bunny does have his 3rd base already created. He just needs to get it moved out onto site. He's being patient. Does not want to move out a little bit too quick. He wants to continue building up these forces so he can push out and secure that 3rd base location. And it is going to be Marauders behind this, as well as a starport. So we are going to see this shift into a little bit more aggressive bio play, but Patience is going to be ready for him, dropping down 3 more Stargates to match the aggression of his opponent. So now the Oracles are going to come over and see this 3rd base transition, and he knows that Bunny is going to be a little bit vulnerable here. Good split on the high and low ground with these Marines. Will put a lot of damage onto the Oracles. And finally, with a turret in the mineral line, that will make this a little bit more difficult. Trying to whittle away one of those supply depot building SCVs, but will not be able to connect there. Blink about halfway done here, as well as a +1 ground attack here for Patience. Both players just taking the slow road here. Patience has a lot of proxy pylons, both for scouting and for warp in potential. And this one's going to be extra aggressive, as he is going to drop a warp gate right next to it, giving himself the option for that fast warp in. Bunny's going to move out. He's not going to see that proxy pylon just yet. He's going to find out about it more than likely in about a minute and a half. The combat shield is done, and he is pushing out. Going to move across the map to at least secure himself a little bit of map vision. That Stalker going to blink out. Just going to get on out of here. Some good stasis traps going down on the map. Bunny's gonna read that and try and position himself appropriately. He does walk right next to an observer, so So Patience knows that this is incoming. Bunny does get a scan down up in front. Oh, and Bunny is going to be able to jump on top of this and see that there is, in fact, that proxy. So more than likely, Patience going to try warping something in to get himself a good position, and a Dark Shrine already on the way. In fact, it's just about 3/4 of the way done. So that's a very good snag by Bunny. Bunny's going to be able to clean off that proxy and eliminate some of the warping potential. And Bunny actually doing a really good job of cleaning up most of the proxy pylons out on the map. Grabbing the one on the low side, grabbing the ones on the high side as well. Bunny not going to quite get all the way up and scout. Well, he might. He does have units at the 12 o'clock position that could potentially swing left and pick off that last proxy pylon. But I think for right now, I think it is going to be allowed to remain. Oh, that mine. That mine could have gotten some good damage done, but instead Bunny just going to micro backwards. Oh, a very, very good blink micro. And now we just continue moving forward here as Bunny tries to once again secure himself some positioning on the map. Getting a good read on when Patience goes to take his 4th base, and Bunny also on site with his 4th base as well. Patience hasn't explicitly seen it, but of course with the SCV going out and scouting that proxy gate, that will give him a tip that he is at least moving in that direction. But Bunny also securing himself that 5th base as well, moving forward towards the Rich Vespine Geyser to give himself a little bit of an extra gas edge in this series here. So ghosts are already out here, going to be very useful for those EMPs to get on top of shields. If there are any High Templar for the Bio Army, they will be able to help mitigate those a little bit. The snipes are going to be very important against those Colossi, but some good force fields will zone some of those expensive ghosts out of the way, and those will be shut down at least for the moment. But Patience is going to try and get a little bit of counter damage here. A little run by of Zealot and Adepts are going to try and make the most of this, but a nice little rally of Bio will help mitigate that. Oh, Bunny actually getting caught by one of the stasis traps here and loses a good chunk of his army. So, of course, Patience is going to try and zone out as much as he can, and he will wander back to clean up that army. He's going to sit right on top of it. And actually, no, it doesn't look like that's actually going to be the case. I think Patience is just going to try and make the most of this. So that little Bioforce getting quite a lot. And it is going to continue trying to dive on in here. And it's going to get workers? Oh, Patience has got to be really upset about this. I mean, that was an army that was effectively dead. And now, off of the heels of that stasis trap, it picks up 13 workers, might grab 14. Oh, yeah, that's got to be very frustrating to Patience. Bunny got way more value out of that army than he should have. So that was exactly what Bunny needed. It forced Patience all the way back home, and it gave him a chance to re-rally. But Bunny is playing from the back heel here. This Planetary Fortress dangerously low, and that will go down, and 5 workers with it. On the bottom side of the map, Patience is going to rotate, and he's going to bring the big, expensive part of his army up to deal more and more damage here. DT Blink just about done, as well as Disruptors. So Patience opting to go into the Disruptor route to keep the AoE pressure on his opponent. So, of course, the DT run-by is still going to be a bit of an annoyance here for Bunny to deal with, but he does have scans, so that will not be an inconceivable act that he has to deal with here. But it's that Warpin Pylon in the top left corner. Bunny did such a great job earlier in the game trying to mitigate that damage, but he just missed out on one, and it's costing him right now. Great Viking count helps deal with those Colossi, so starting to slowly whittle away the AoE damage potential of Patience against the Bio Army. And Bunny's going to be able to jump on top of this 5th base here. This base is so far out of position, and the army of Patience not going to be able to engage on that. Good EMP coats a good chunk of those Stalkers, so those Stalkers will have to be careful. That is so many DTs with Blink. There's so many. That is going to get so much damage. Bunny's supply cap plummets as he starts losing so many of these supply depots. 156 is the current count, and that is a bit of frustrating damage. So Bunny still losing units, still can't even build behind him. So he is going to try once again to get the most value out of these units that he possibly can, picking off a pylon, depowering some of those units that will prevent a few warp-ins here for a little bit for Patience. But, I mean, Patience firing on all cylinders right now. He's got that proxy pylon still in the top left corner, continuing to provide lots of harassment potential. Behind all of this, +2 done for both players. It looks like Patience is just about to step out to that +3. So that will give him a bit of an edge here. And these run-bys are just so lethal. Man, if you're Bunny, you just have to feel so frustrated because you put in so much work at the middle portion of this game to try and deal damage against the proxy potential of your opponent, only to find that he just continues to proxy relentlessly. Now, Bunny is able to make Patience pay for it. He does kick out a 5th base here, mitigating a bit of the economic advantage here of his opponent, and he does still have a sizable Bioforce, but it is going to get squeezed here in just a moment. Those Stalkers getting a nice surround on top of this army, but once again, Bunny microing out of it, making the most of the little bit of army that he has. Bunny playing very, very strongly right now, making those Stalkers look clunky. Only now does Bunny slowly start to bleed off units, but he's taken so much of Patience's army with him. Patience does have a 5th and a 6th base in the 5 o'clock corner and the 9 o'clock position. So he's not out of this just yet. Liberator's going to join the fight here. Big Blink forward. The Bio is going to try and nuke some of this down, but the Blink Stalkers will be able to get on top of those Liberators and pick off all but one of them. One Liberator still sitting on the back side. It does have advanced ballistics, so it does have that good range upgrade that is helpful in the situation. And Patience is just going to pull. He knows that he's got extra bases to play with here, so he's just going to abandon this base and avoid losing more of those valuable units that he has. And it's just going to be continued harassment here by Patience, getting so much damage done with these run-bys. And both players just going to try and base trade here. The 4th base is exposed of Bunny. It's a rather good repair, but so many workers are going to go down. 38, 40. Oh, that number just continues to climb. Bunny's going to toss away so many workers for this, and he has no idea about the base in the lower right-hand corner. Bunny's trying to calculate this out. He's going, okay, I have a pretty close army size. It's not exactly the same, 94 to 83. But if I can just take out your production, I can get on top of the production that you do have, then I should be able to even this out with you. But Patience is not going to let that happen. He's got way too many bases. Only now is Bunny going to see this base at the 9 o'clock position. And he's got to be thinking, oh boy, I'm not in a good position. I think if Bunny scans the lower right-hand corner, I think that'll just be a GG timing. It's a good Liberator count, but at this point, he needs something to be able to deal with those DTs and more Zealot run-bys. These Stalkers getting so much value, and I think Patience is just a moment away from being able to secure his game number 2 victory and put himself in another position to try and all-kill his opponent. Patience is going to swing around on the top side here, and he's going to force that last engagement. More Liberators going to be added to the mix, but a big Blink forward will pick those off. The Bioforce is not quite connected with those Liberators. The planetary fortress is under fire once again, and Bunny just running out of resources, running out of army, is going to have to tap out. GG is called, and Patience on the verge of yet another all kill. Can he secure it this time against his next opponent in Sue? That will be the question here, to see if he can secure that victory here, because they would love to be in a position where their team will be able to be a little more secure, at least going into the finals. Of course, they have, I would say, the more difficult road, in that in day 5 they're going to have to play against the 3 Zerg, our second place team in this team league. It's not impossible. I think a good read will be how Patience can play against Sue. Will give us an indicator, at least, to how they might potentially fare against the all PVZ matchup that they have waiting for them tomorrow. But if you are on Team SSB, I mean, you got to be sweating right now. It's going to come down to Sue to try and do the reverse sweep against Beef Rice Stew, and he's going to have to do it on the heel of 3 ZVPs back to back to back. And Sue's matchup against Protoss is maybe in question here. We're going to take a peek at Aligulac here really fast and see what Aligulac has to tell us here. His ZVP win rate is rather strong, 61%. It's his second best matchup. So if he could possibly get it done, I think it is a probability here. So Sue's got his work cut out for him, though. And Patience is looking really, really strong. I mean, obviously yesterday, Patience almost taking down his opponents from Why Are You Here? But Zest was the reason that he got dismantled. So it was a PvP, and Patience has already overcome a PvP today. So he's broken at least a little bit of that curse going into this series. So it is possible. But yeah, Patience looking really good over the last couple of days. We'll have to see if he can keep that momentum going forward, or if it will be Sue that will be kind of anchoring this down. Whew. So, very, very exciting series here so far. I think kind of ripping by. Very, very quick 2-0 for Team Beef Rice Stew. They're going to look to clear it out here. We will be jumping in. I'll be interested to see what map we jump out onto, and we'll be ready to go in just a moment. A little bit more on the side of GSL. Of course, GSL will be starting here on June 19th. Should be June 20th, actually, for the remainder of the world, because June 19th will be the North American timing. And actually, not even all of that North American timing. Alrighty. We are going to be on Ice and Chrome. Spawning in the lower left. Our dominant Protoss here in this series. It is Patience, but his opponent in the top right looking to start his reverse sweep. Right now, it is Sue. Now, there was a small part of me. It's like, is Sue gonna get super aggressive here? But nope. Just gonna choose to open up with a little bit of normal macro. We are on Ice and Chrome. Ice and Chrome, I think, is a very neat map for Zerg, and the fact that there are lots of run-by paths here. I also just am a big fan of the snow maps. Now, what I will say is, as a caster, the snow effect, while cool, just absolutely tanks frame rate. So I am very grateful here today that the wonderful observer at Afrika TV is able to host this, so I can just watch. Patience, hello. So I can just watch and observe from the comforts of my own home. But I will say that the snow particle effects do take a little bit of a toll on my computer when we've covered that. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays into future casts for me. But I am so very, very grateful. I do want to say thank you to Afrika TV for providing this clean feed for us to cast off of. It's very, very high production value. Of course, Freaked Up Studios always doing a fantastic job of creating quality StarCraft 2 content. And we at Alpha X are just so thrilled to be a part of this production. So thank you so much to Afrika TV for all of the resources they're providing as a part of this cast. And of course, thanks to all of you for getting up early to watch. I suppose you're getting up early if it's North America. If you're in Europe or if you're in Asia, you're probably looking at Russia. It's like the middle of the day. What's your deal? Well, it's currently 5:52 for me in the morning. I'm still like sucking down coffee every so often. We do have a Stargate on the way for our patient Protoss player. See what I did there? Oh, Rushy's waking up. He's got the bad jokes. But right now, there's not a whole lot to scout for either of the opponents. Sue's going to try and be annoying with the gas workers on these lanes. He's going to pick off a probe. Oh, if you're patient, you should just GG right now. Just get out of the game. But he's going to pick off 2 drones. Anything you can do, I can do better. So both the players trading out workers here just a little bit. And it is going to be an Oracle on the way. So Sue should have a good read on that. He does have an Overlord at the front wall. He does know that a Stargate is on the field. So you have to assume that it's either going to be a Phoenix or an Oracle at this point. Void Rays doesn't make sense. There's just no all-in potential, at least at this point, from that Void Ray. So my guess is that Sue is going to be protected and ready to go. He is going to scout that 3rd gas going down. Not quite seeing the 4th gas, but should be able to, again, make a decent read on that. That's a big, heavy gas investment. Behind this, Patience is going to secure his 3rd. Seeing that gas is going to force Sue into a bit of a scout here. He is going to be able to see that 4th gas go down. 3rd Nexus on the way. Patience going to try and secure that heavy gas economy to make himself a little bit of a strong force here in the mid game. So as a response, Sue going to toss down his lair, is going to keep working on that drone count, already up to 50 workers. He will have good coverage in all of his mineral lines of the anti-air, so having that Spore Crawler presence, parking the Queens over at the 3rd base, those Oracles should be able to, the Queens rather, should be able to defend against those Oracles. Oracles should not be able to get a whole lot of damage done. Roach Warren finally down for Sue. As he transitions into a little bit of a bulkier army, starts seeing more of those adepts and starts seeing the sentries as well. Wants a little more bulk to his army. Zerglings are just not going to cut it at this point. One stasis trap here. Sue's looking for it. He knows that the potential's there. He hasn't quite connected with it yet. 4th base on the way and a Spire going down as well. Sue all the way up to 5 gas? 6 gas. All the way up to 6 gas, and Patience gonna try and scout for this. And is he gonna find it? It's all the way at the 3rd base. Oh, the Queens push it off. What a madman. Sue going, Patience never gonna look for that in the 3rd base. Who puts a Spire at their 3rd? Well, I have an answer for you. Sue does. So Sue's Spire will go relatively unscouted, at least for right now. Which is kind of a good thing, too, as he does have the production to be able to pump out some more Phoenix, and that will be a problematic situation for him. Those Lings getting caught by all of the force fields, but it will come at the cost of one. Will come at the cost of 1 sentry. 1 sentry for a handful of Lings. Not sure if that's worth. And Patience still has not scouted this Spire. So I think that's actually a really interesting play here. It's going to be 10 Mutas almost immediately. It's going to be Muta Roach with Zerglings because it's got a +1 melee on top of this. So, so very, very interesting here. I like having the Roach speed, though. Gives him that option to transition if he does want to, and he had the extra gas from his Muta save. 5 more Mutas on the way. Will be a good army composition, and I think that he is going to be able to scout this here in just a moment. He knows that Mutas should be incoming. Yeah, and now he definitely sees it. So, what are you going to do if you are Patience? Patience knows for a fact Mutas are on the field. There are 15 in total. Pretty good coverage here. He's got a cannon in the mineral lines. He is going to have Colossi to help deal with the Zerglings, but he's got to have something to deal with these Mutas. Mutas don't quite have a response just yet. 1 Zergling get to pop off on those stasis traps. Very good Revelation gets a good coverage on all of those Mutas, so the Mutas are going to be visible for a decent chunk of time here. So you're going to be forced to back off. Cannot be super annoying with those Mutas, especially not when they are completely visible. Muta's going to dive on top of the Stalker count. The Stalker count's still relatively low, at least in that location, so he does try to pick off a couple of those Stalkers, give himself a little bit of an advantage. More and more Mutalisks just continue to get poured out onto the map. Move Big Blink forward, going to try and engage on those Mutalisks. And trades a little bit inefficiently. But Su continuing to rocket ahead in supply count. Yeah, the Muta count is very, very strong here. Able to pick off those cannons even with a battery overcharge. Oh, and here comes the counter damage. Oh, he's so nervous. He's nervous about the stasis traps. Loses a chunk of Mutas here. He's still got 30, so certainly not in a bad position. But now he is going to connect with that 4th base. Going to get a solid cancel on that. And Patience is going to run across the map, try and get some damage done of his own. Zergling's getting choked up at the front of the natural. That is 5 spine crawlers going down to try and anchor down a little bit more of a defense here. Suga to try and get some economic damage done on Patience's side of the map before he ultimately has to go back and deal with this. Yeah, those spine crawlers are never going to see the light of day. One will see the light of day, and it's not for very long. So now Su is able to get on top of this and deal a lot of economic damage. He's got 23 workers down already. But this is a large army of Patience. That's a lot of Stalkers. And sure, you have 30 Mutas and you have 60 Lings. But now with the positional high ground here in Su's main base, it's going to be very difficult for Su to engage in on top of. So the Hive does get picked off. 2 bases remain here for Su. Both players losing a handful of workers. Right now, Su does still have a good grip on all of his economy. Still has 37. Well, I guess that number's plummeting here. Still has about 30 of his workers. Patience down to 1. And now he's down to none. Now, there is 1 Nexus left. I think in a base race scenario, I think Su's got this. Yeah, GG is called, and Su making the most of this situation here as he begins the reverse sweep. Oh, very, very exciting here. So we're going to now have to see how Su can respond. if he's going to be able to continue this progression that he's set in this game. So we are going to be going to game number 4. Dude, Castor Park is excited. I am also excited. We're gonna have to see what happens here. This is this series just got interesting. Of course, we saw yesterday where Zest was able to complete the reverse sweep over his opponent. Can Sue make a repeat of that? And it was against Beef Rice Stew. Is Beef Rice Stew gonna get reversed twice in 2 days? That would just be heartbreaking for them. That would be a very, very difficult path to overcome in this best of 5 series. So Sue making the most of it, doing a great job base racing his opponent. We're gonna have to see who Beef Rice Stew puts up next to play against him. It's gonna be either Trap or Creator, and I'm very, very, very excited. It would be so sad for Patience if he wins the first 2 games 2 days in a row and then loses to the reverse sweep. Yeah, I mean, as Patience, you got to feel like he's done his job, right? In the last 2 days, he's won 4 maps. 4. It's a lot of maps. I mean, that's the most you can win without cleaning it up yourself. So we are gonna jump into game number 5, or excuse me, to game number 4. Sorry, I mind flooded myself. It is gonna be Sue in the bottom left corner of Golden Wall, and his opponent in the bottom right is Creator. Yeah, you gotta feel for Patience here. Patience has done his job, and now it is just up to his team to close this out. But Sue's gonna make him work for it. So Sue's gonna dig deep into his playbook here of Protoss openers, because he's got 2 more ZVPs in store. Now let's see. So we are getting ready for that GSL season coming up here. In fact, Sue does play at the end of the week, and he's got 2 Protoss and a Terran in his group. It's going to be Zest, Zaun, and Special. So Special actually going to be playing a TVZ with Sue in the first match of the first group. So Sue just getting some good practice in. Hopefully, I mean, will be playing a ZVP at some point for GSL. Whether he's in the winners or losers side of the bracket is yet to be determined. But again, he's going to dig deep into that playbook and try to get as much creativity out of this as he possibly can. So both players opting to take a slow, methodical approach here. Looks like Sue is going to wander out to his third base location here very, very shortly. Ling's going to chase that probe around. And this is Sue's last tournament. Sue's going to be drafted to the military here soon. That's very, very sad. Creator moving out to a Stargate opening here for this game number 4. Again, looking just for 1 win to close out this series and put themselves positionally in a good spot to make it into the playoffs starting on Thursday. All they have to do is win 1 game between 2 people. So we'll have to see if they can dial up something special here for Sue. And an Oracle opening will not be the specialty that we're looking for, but it could just be a tried and true method to keep in this series in a strong position. Especially on Golden Wall. I mean, there's so much airspace on the bottom side of this map. It's easy to lose track of units or drops that might be moving towards your side. and you can get a bit of a surprise on your opponent. So the third base of Sue just about done here. Going to wrap up and be able to be populated in just a moment. Going to be a Zergling Morphin on Sue's side of the map, just trying to supplement a little bit of his army here. There are already Spore Crawlers in the main mineral lines, so Sue going to be ready for that. Going to lose 2 drones, but not anything that he can't recover from. Sue going to jump out to that lair as a robotics facility goes down on Creator's side. Now, this is interesting here. Creator taking the bottom expansion on the lower left side of his main, but there's going to be a big amount of Lings here that are going to come and disrupt that. That's actually going to cause a lot of problems here for Creator, as he doesn't have a whole lot to respond to this just yet. 4 Adepts and 1 Stalker, and they're all on the top side of his natural. I think he might just have enough here to get a cancel on this. Oh, not quite. Those Adepts going to arrive just in time to push those off. So very, very good damage here by Sue, but Creator is able to shove that off, at least for the time being. Lair just now completed here. Big round of drones for Sue as he finishes populating his mineral lines. And this is what we come to see a lot on Golden Wall here. It is going to be more Mutiling Bane from our blue Zerg player, and that's just super common on this map. The minerals dividing the map kind of into 1/3 versus 2/3 of the map. The mobility of that Mutiling Bane makes it so easy to get around and provide some good hits. But Sue's already got that important information that he knows that he has access to that bottom pocket third. So I'm sure he will be trying to exploit that just a little bit, trying to pull his opponent apart just a little bit extra here. And those Lings are going to tear across the map to try and get more damage done, but Creator is already in position, will have a bulk of his army here to deflect and push that back on away. So that won't be immediate damage, but it is buying Sue enough time to get his Spire out. His 4th base also on the way in the top left corner of the map. Sue not wanting to join Creator on the bottom side. I mean, the push potential here by Creator is very, very easy. That distance not very large between those 2 bases. And on top of that, the Oracles are already on top of that location and would be able to spot that going down in a heartbeat. So that would not be very good efficiency by our blue Zerg. So Sue opting to take the safe route, take that top left corner, and try and put himself as far away from his opponent as possible. It's going to be a big round of Gateway Warpins here as he does start to transition into the next portion of his army. He's going to throw down another Stargate, suspecting that there is a Spire out on the map. He's going to know in a moment here when these Mutas come diving on into the natural. And it's going to be Phoenix production to help deal with these Mutas, and that's a great call if you're Creator. Sue has to get value out of this army, and he's got to get it done now. He is going to scout the Chronode Stargate that's making Phoenixes as fast as it possibly can. So once again, he's got to get value out of these Mutas as quickly as possible, because the more Phoenix that hit the map, the more difficult it's going to be for him to engage with these Mutas without just tossing away tons and tons of units. But he's still making more Mutas behind this. He's got 3 on the way, getting those +1 flyer upgrades as well as the +1 melee. So he wants to commit into this Mutiling Bane as much as he possibly can. Yeah, and here we go. Here's a good shift. He's going to shift into a little bit of Corruptor production. If anything, to give a little bit of anchor to this Muta army, something that will at least be able to push the Phoenix off to some degree. Ooh, Stalker count's not very high right here. There's enough Mutas here. He can just jump on top of this. And he's got to be careful with those Phoenix as well. I mean, that Muta count is growing enough that he could just one-shot some of those Mutas and Stalkers. Now with the Lings and the Corruptors as a part of this is actually a pretty scary force here by Sue. He's going to have to micro this carefully here, as all three different parts of this army will have very, very different components. Creator trying desperately to get out to that fourth base location. Sue has already squatted on the location up top, making that very, very difficult. Good Zealot run by here, cleaning out the third base location. It's going to force all these Lings back home, and he's going to have to go up to the fourth base as well, as more Zealots are attacking the top side. I mean, this is two bases cleared out. This is great distractionary damage here for Creator, and Creator going to move across the map on the bottom side, trying to get close to that main base. And Adept going to zip on into the main as well, and it's going to be Drone Fight Club. You're kidding me. Yeah, Sue's in a bit of a rough spot here. He does need to stabilize if he wants to continue being effective here. More Mutas and more Corruptors. Oh my gosh, that Phoenix count is so high. Well, they're just going to jump on top of each other. The Corruptors kind of shielding themselves here under the Mutifier. I think that's actually a really cute play. Those Corruptors making themselves soak up or sponge targets for all of the damage. Or if anything, forcing Creator to stay on top of those Mutas and try and engage. But now here's the value of having those Corruptors. They are able to zone out those Phoenix and make this more difficult. But once the ground army of Creator arrives, Sue is going to have to be a little bit more decisive about how he micros this. And the Phoenix count is almost gone. Now, the positive side of that for Sue is that he's going to be able to allow his Mutas to roam a little more freely. But once those Phoenix are out of the air, those Corruptors become dead weight. There's not a whole lot that they can do. And that seems to be the case here. Creator is transitioning into that ground army, but he's having a difficult time here. He's lost 17 workers. He has half the army count. The Mutas are so strong, there's just nothing to deal with them. Of course, Creator getting a little more damage on that fourth base. The fifth base already up and secured for Sue. These Lings should be able to clean off those Stalkers, but Creator's in a really rough spot right now. 186 to 102. Sure, these Corruptors really don't have a whole lot of potential right now. But if anything, it just keeps Creator off of Phoenix. This is a really rough position for Creator to be in. Those Corruptors getting one last final value as they do pick off that Warp Prism, and they are just gonna puke all over that Nexus. Those Lings trying desperately to get in here. All the ground units do go down. Creator just doesn't have anything left. And Sue, has he done it? Has he brought himself to match point here? Not quite going to be able to clean off that second base. It's so dangerously low, and the Mutas will finally tap it down. Creator in a terrible position here. 180 to 82 supply. He's down 30 workers. He's down 60 army. He's down 70 army, excuse me. Math on stream, not even once. And these Mutas able to rotate. This is the power of air units on this map. These Lings going to be able to flood on in. I think these Lings are going to be able to put the nail in the coffin here. It's got to be very careful. Those Archons are rather strong against Corruptors and Mutas, but there's just not going to be anything to deal with these Lings. Creator has to continue engaging this flyer force out onto the map. He does drop a Dark Shrine. He is behind. That Dark Shrine's just a little bit too late here, and Sue's going to be able to max out, and he's just going to push across the map. Those Lings continuing to get uninterrupted damage, picking off warp gates, limiting the production cycles of his opponent. In fact, I think these Mutas can just jump on top. Sue's got a little bit of a bank, so he doesn't want to throw everything away, but I think he could take an inefficient engagement here and just end this series. And he is going to bring the Lings back home, and this is going to be the final engagement. GG is called! And Sue is on the verge of the reverse sweep. Oh, beef rice stew. Oh, beef rice stew. You got to be feeling it right now. This is getting a little dicey here. That cannot feel good if you get reverse sweeped twice in 2 days. So it's a bit of a tricky moment here for Beef Rice Stew. On the verge of going 0-3. Oh. Gosh, I can't even imagine what Patience is thinking right now. He's like, guys, I've won 4 games. 4. I just need you to win 1. So Sue though looking really strong here, trying to take SSB into a 1-2 positioning in this team bracket. Again, I cannot stress how important this team win is. Positioning themselves into, it might even be a guaranteed spot here. Beef Rice Stew having to go play that second place 3-Zerg team tomorrow. And if they do it off of the back of 2 reverse all kills, I mean, that's going to be difficult to play from. But here we are. We're jumping into the ace match here. It's going to be on Submarine. Spawning in the top left is our Momentum Zerg in Sue. And his opponent in the bottom right, trying to stop the skid, is Trap. All right, now Submarine is one of the smaller maps in the pool. So if Trap wanted to be annoying, this would actually absolutely be the map to try and get that done on. So the probe is going to go relatively unscouted. I don't think it's going to be anything too nefarious. I think he's just going to deny that natural base. Yeah, and exactly all that's going to happen. It's going to be a gateway going down on Trap's side of the map, and Sue is just going to try and make the most of it and go down to that third base location, which here on Submarine is not too bad a damage. Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but if you're Sue, the distance between the main, the natural, and the third are not that far apart. So Sue's just going to try again, just to make the most of it and get himself positioned here in this game number 5. Sue looking for that reverse sweep. He wants it. I think he wants it really bad. He wants to get his team a win, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to get it done. By the way, folks, thank you so much for joining me here on Afreeca TV here this morning. 140 of you catching this cast. I'm so excited. I'm so glad that all of you are here. Thank you so much for supporting Alpha X and Afreeca TV as we get ready for GSL Season 2 coming up at the end of this week. And I hope that you guys are enjoying all of this great team content. Something a little bit different to whet the StarCraft 2 palette here in June of 2020. Lots of uncertainty, lots of crazy things happening in the world, but isn't it nice to be able to bond over StarCraft 2 together? Ooh. All right, so if you are Sue, what is the call here? Again, this is a bit of a smaller map, so not as much potential to spread out and spread yourself wide in this series. It's going to be Trap opening up the same way as his 2 teammates did, going into that Stargate first opener. So no Protoss in this series is going to try and do that quick, cheesy Glaive Adept timing, which should be good for Sue, especially on this map. I mean, the distance between these 3 bases can make it easy for Glaive Adepts to be effective. Trap has seen that the third base has gone down, so he knows that Sue is trying to macro out of this. There are 8lings on the way. I think those are just going to be enough to push off Adept pressure, which is fine. I think that's a smart move. Oracle on the way once as well. These lings actually going to just tear across the map. Oh, okay. So they are going to see the adepts and engage on top of those. Try and mitigate a little bit of that damage. Lings are going to find the Stalker in the wall. That Stalker actually getting dangerously low here. He's got to be very careful. Trap's going to let the door open. Oh, and those Lings are going to wiggle their way in. That's got to be so annoying for Trap. That's going to pull the Oracle all the way back home. He's going to have to turn on his laser beams, and that's going to be energy that's not spent across the map killing drones. This is very good information damage for Sue, but Sue does lose 4 workers behind it. But I think the damage potential that Trap could have come across with on those Oracles, I think that's an absolute fair trade. Good position for Sue to be in as he tries to keep his opponent back at home. Trap is going to move out to that 3rd base, so nothing going to be immediately incoming for our Protoss player. Is going to drop that 3rd base down. Sue does get a good read on it and actually picks off the probe, so Trap going to have to pull another probe to deal with this. And Sue just continually trying to be as annoying as humanly possible. It does take a little bit of a supply block here with that Overlord falling. Once again, everything in the name of information. It's going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge back behind this, so we're not going to see a large Phoenix play like we did in game number 4. Less likely that we will see a large commitment into a Mutiling Bane here on Submarine. It's not as effective, although it's been very good for him for the last 2 games. Sue winning off of Mutiling Bane in his composition for his previous 2 opponents. There isn't any reason why it wouldn't work here in game number 5. But we'll have to see if Sue decides to go that route, or if he is going to just try and get on top of his Roach production and just get all up in his Protoss opponent's face. Now these Double Adepts are able to get across the map and start dealing more damage. A good Queen position will be able to zone this off. It does come at the cost of 3 workers. Those Queens doing a... Okay, sorry. Anyway, doing a little bit of a dance, making a little love, getting down tonight. So Roach speed on the way here for Sue. Getting himself into position here. It is going to be a +1 missile attack. Okay, so we are not going to see Mutiling Bane in this series. Sue going to commit into more of a ground force here. And we're going to have to see if that pays off for him, as he is going to move those Roaches out across the map, getting some very good pickoffs on these sentries. That's actually outstanding gas damage done to his opponent. He's going to arrive at that 3rd base and force a big warp in. So Roach is going to get some good scouting, going to force in some more unit warp ins. Sue on the backside of this already has 69 workers to his opponent's 58, and he is able to continue exploding outwards. He does have a 4th base incoming as well, so good macro cycles here, trying to keep him in this game and keep his opponent off kilter. Good transfuse here keeps that Queen alive. The Oracle's trying to get as much damage as possible. Getting a Queen pick off would admittedly be very strong. And we are going to see a Spire go down. Sue, you madman. Why are you building so many gas units right now? I guess he does have 6 gases already secured, but he's going to have to hold down this 4th base here. There's a large chunk of ground force here that gets on top of that 4th base. Trap not comfortable engaging on top of that, but take a look at the supply. 153 to 106. Trap is at the top of his supply right now. He knows that damage is coming. He drops those shield batteries almost immediately. He has a little bit of room now to warp in here, but those army supply differences are dramatic. 99 to 54. And Sue is here. He's just going to jump on top of this. He's got speed. He's got +1. He's going to split those Roaches up and start attacking in different locations here. Good liftoffs on the Ravagers will be able to mitigate at least a little bit of damage, but it's going to have to be better rotations by Trap if he wants to engage on top of all of these Roaches. Battery overcharge going down in the 3rd base location. Tries to keep that Archon alive, but Sue just taking a step backwards, letting that zip out. And this is going to be incredible damage here. I don't know if Trap can hold on. Has Sue done it? Has he completed the reverse sweep? These Roaches getting dangerously low. That Archon getting so much value. Those shield batteries trying their absolute hardest to keep everything alive. And I think Sue's going to have to get forced back for now, but it is on the heels of some very good damage. These Roaches have not been dealt with in the natural just yet. One Immortal will be able to shut that all down. so that will be okay damage. But these roaches going to swing back around again, trying to get that Archon. If he can take out that Archon, he knows that he will take so much of the teeth out of this engagement here. There goes the Archon. Oh, Suu's got gas. He could make more Ravagers here. That would be great response against the Archon and against the Immortal, and that's exactly what he's going to do here. He's going to try and use as much of that gas as possible. The Phoenix are going to be able to see this, so he knows that Su is winding up again, but Trap, his supply is so dangerously low here. 91 to 56 army supply, and Trap is down 10 workers. He's just categorically down. These Oracles are going to have to turn on their laser beams. They're going to go after these Ravagers here. And here's another big engagement here at the third base location. Those Immortals pivoting back here, trying to get in range of those shield batteries. But Su is able to control this ramp here, and he's able to get more and more damage done. The Cyber Core goes down, so there are no more Stalkers. There are no more Adepts being produced at this time. So it's only going to be Zealots and Immortals. And Immortals alone will not be able to deal with this. This is very good Warp Prism micro, but even that will only last for so long. 17 Hydras on the way. Su is already rotating out of this. He should be able to push across one more time at the end. Phoenix is going to get in here, and he is going to see the Hydras, and he's going to see the Hydras in large force. Oh, Grooved Spines almost complete as well. Once those Hydras have Grooved Spines, they're going to have so much more range potential. Trap is in trouble. He's got to have a response to this, and he just does not yet at this point. Good force fields will zone out some of those roaches and clean off a little bit of the supply, but once again, does not have anything yet to deal with those Hydras. And once that Warp Prism gets tagged down, I don't know that Trap's going to have the mobility that he needs. Suu's already maxed out, 122 to 79 army supply, and this fourth base is so critical for Trap, but I don't know if he's ready to hold it. And here comes Su. Su's going to get on top of this army here. The force fields are going to get mitigated by the Ravager Biles. Some more battery overcharge, going to try everything it possibly can to do, but the Immortals are engaging with Hydras. This is not a good fight for those Immortals. Big Warp in here, going to try and get on top of this and stabilize this fight. I don't believe that Trap is going to have enough to deal with this. The fourth base is going to go down, and more of the damage is going to come out. And Su is he's still maxed out. He's just streaming units across the map here. I think Su is so close to being the victor of the reverse sweep. Trap holding on desperately for dear life. Disruptors, this is the unit. If there were any units that could get Trap back into this game, it's going to be a Disruptor. But that Disruptor kind of getting caught out right now. And Su is able to wiggle into that natural. He's going to hold this ramp once again. You've got to be so frustrated as Trap, as you've lost access to this ramp 3 times in this series. And this is just going to be way too much. Now with the Hydra shooting up, that Warp Prism is not going to be able to pivot the way it wants to. It does get a good Purification Nova off on these units, but as the roaches all get picked off, it's mostly Ravager and Hydra, and that is it. Su with the reverse sweep. And Beef Rice Stew falls to a reverse sweep for the second day in a row. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable play by Su. Su securing the all kill against Beef Rice Stew. And Su's got to be feeling good about that, as that helps secure SSB's position on the bracket, moving them to a 1-2 position. Ooh. SSB's got to be breathing a sigh of relief here. If you're Patience, you've got to be frustrated. Patience winning 4 maps in the last 2 days and unable to see his team secure either one of those team victories. So a bit of a frustrating loss here for Beef Rice Stew. They do have a bit of a tough road ahead as they go into tomorrow's match with 3 Zerg. They are the second place team, now squaring up against a winless Beef Rice Stew all the way at the bottom. If Beef Rice Stew cannot win, they will
울트라
not be able to
부드럽게
connect.
이긴다.
So we're going to go to a short break here, but first I want to make sure to do a big shout out to one of our main sponsors in Manscaped. Manscaped, one of our sponsors here in June for Alpha X, providing all sorts of great resources and tools for the man in your life. I know Father's Day is coming up here in the North American states, and if your father or the man in your life is looking for something to add to their collection in terms of body wash, shampoo, and hair care products, you can check out manscaped.com, where they have a great line of tools for the man in your life. Use the code Matcherino to get 20% off your purchase online, and we want to thank them for supporting StarCraft 2 and Alpha X esports here in 2020. So we're going to go to a short break. We're going to be back with our second match of the day. It's going to be Big Brother Cure versus Why Are You Here, our undefeated team looking to close out a 4-0 victory in this series. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the BJ Destruction League Season 2 right here on play.africatv.com/alphaxse2. My name is Rushy. We'll be right back right after this break. Oh, well. Well, I just got debated by the live feed. Welcome back to day 4 of the BJ Destruction League Season 2, brought to you by Freakin' TV and Alpha X. My name is Rashi. I'm so glad that you guys are here with us. I'm so used to, after coming back from a break, we go straight to a little bit of production, leading us in to this cast, but clearly we want to get things rolling here. So jumping ahead a little bit quicker than I anticipated. We're going to be going to our match number 2 here between Big Brother Cure and Why Are You Here? It is the undefeated 3-0 Solar Cure and Armani going up against the 1-1 Zest, Sats, and Special. Both teams looking to secure their position in the bracket here. And Solar Cure and Armani looking to secure that first place spot, giving them the best seed in this tournament here. So today is the last time that they will play. They will be experiencing their bye day tomorrow. So if they can win here, they will go 4-0 and secure the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So this is a big, important win. Now, if you are the team, Why Are You Here? This is a great moment to try and secure a better seed in this event. If they can go and defeat Big Brother Cure, not only do they secure a tied place in second, but they also give 3 Zerg an opportunity to be able to secure their own spot atop the bracket. So this is a very important series here for both teams. Big Brother Cure definitely secured into the playoffs on Thursday. It's just going to be a matter of where they can sit themselves. So we're going to find out here in just a moment what these two teams do to secure themselves in. We're going to be on Death Aura, spawning in the bottom right for Big Brother Cure. It is Armani. And spawning in the top left. Or why are you here? It's going to be stats. We're going to get ourselves another ZVP. You were probably sitting here going, gosh, you know, I just wish I had more ZVP action. I just didn't get enough. Your wish has been granted. The monkey paw finger curls as you get a chance to see yet another ZVP right here on the BJ Destruction League. Already Zest going to get a little bit of damage done here as he, or excuse me, stats. Why did I say Zest? Why? Brain. Brain. We got to get the, here you go, can you hear that? Got to get that brain moving. Stats already getting a little bit of a block down on Armani. Armani has to run out to the third base location. As Stats plays a little ring around the rosy here with the probe being a tiny bit annoying. Is going to be able to just secure his natural base all by himself. No big deal. And it is going to be just a bit of a slow start here in this first map of match number 2. Both players are able to go the distance and showcase a lot of great games. We've seen Armani play a little bit more timing oriented here in the tournament so far. And it'll be interesting to see if he continues to do that here in game number 1 against Stats. I think if I remember correctly, Armani played mostly ZVTs. Yeah, he played against Bunny day number 1. I guess he did play against Creator and Patience in day number 2. Winning against Creator, falling against Patience. So, certainly has the potential here to secure. And, I mean, he's in a good position to play strong games against all races. So we'll have to see how he can handle this here in map number 1. And Stats, looking at the 3 previous Protoss games going, what? Stargate opener? Clearly that's not very strong. Is going to open with a Twilight Council here to begin. And start positioning himself with a possible Glaive Adept timing here. And that's exactly what's going to be the case. Robotics facility already down as well. We're going to have to see how Armani can hold this. Right now, his creep spread is a little lacking. Still working on getting that third base down and secured. And if you are Armani, you do want to get a couple of things. You want to get a good scout off on this because you need to know that this is on the way. It is going to be 4-gate pressure. But also, you do need to get the creep down so that way your units can rotate effectively. It's going to be a double scout here. Well, when Armani decides to move, he's going to sit outside, just keep an eye on those gases, wanting to know when those are going to get taken. The third gas actually does just go down now. So that should give him a little bit of an indication that this is, in fact, incoming. But it's going to be a pylon on the outside wall that will prevent the easy scout for Armani. So Armani hasn't necessarily seen this yet. He's got a lot of Zerglings coming out here. He's got 15, but that's not going to be enough to deal with Glaive Adepts. Okay, Zergling's just going to run across the map here. There is no Roach Tech. Oh, Armani, what do you think is coming, my dude? Oh, this is going to be very frustrating for Armani when he sees this, because Glaive Adepts are already done. These Lings are going to try and get in here and get some damage done, but it's going to be very, very difficult here. That's a full wall off. Good surround on the Adepts here. These Lings are going to get a lot of damage done. Queens now join the fight to get as much done as possible. And the Cybernetics Core is under attack. If that Cyber Core gets picked off, that's no more Adept Warp-ins. It's so low. It's so low, but he's not going to get it. But he is going to mitigate the damage here at his base right now. So it is 8 workers. Right now, still an okay trade. I mean, Stats is, he's not entirely all in behind this, but he hasn't thrown down his third base just yet. This is not done damage. Oh my gosh, if Armani can just get in there and weasel away the Cyber Core, Oh, that's so much damage. And these Adepts are out of position. That Cybercore is going to go under attack here. He's going to be able to pick that off, and that is all down, and these Lings are going to pour on into the base. This is going to be insult to injury here. So only Zealot Warpins at this time. No more Adepts for the moment. The third Nexus has gone down. These Lings are going to rotate down and see that, and that's going to put pressure on Stats. Stats in a bit of a tough spot here. All right, Armani doesn't want to throw away the Zerglings just yet. He's putting a lot of damage down onto this Warp Prism. Warp Prism dangerously low. These Adepts are going to get cleaned up, and the Warp Prism is going to go down as well. Armani has done it. He's held at least for the time being. So we'll be able to clean up this last Adept, and the Adepts walking across the map, that's all he has right now. The Cybercore is on the way, so there will be a replacement in the near future. But in all reality, Stats needs that damage now. He does have a bit of a supply lead, which is good for Stats, 49 to 37. He's going to have to go back home, though, and his third base is delayed. Cybercore is only now coming up. This is a really nice hold by Armani. So Zergling's going to try and get on top of that third base once again. Is not going to get the damage done that they need to. And he also doesn't want to just throw away his Lings to a Zealot and Adept army. So just going to rotate around the map, try and do some spotting, get on top of any free probes that he can get. And he grabs one. He might grab two. Nope, not going to be able to grab two. So behind this, he's droning. Armani does need to close that drone gap here. He is sitting down 8 workers to his opponent in red. Getting a good scout off on the main and the natural is going to see that the robotics facility being chronoed. Zergling's going to work their way up into the third base here. The Army of Stats getting caught out on the map. He's going to jump on top of the units here, but doesn't really get that much. And unfortunately, he's going to trade away all of those Zerglings as a part of it. So more than anything, Armani right now just trying to delay his opponent as he secures his economy and gets himself into a better position to be able to defend against this incoming push. Roach speed now complete. Blink is also going to finish up for Stats. So both of these armies going to get a little more sophisticated here as we approach the mid portion of this game. Warp Prism with Adepts going to come up here. Did he scout that? Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, he absolutely did. So he knows that this is on the way. Queen's going to be positioned on the low ground to try and protect against the rotation. And these units are going to be able to stay on top. Ooh, excuse me. I had a yawn sneak up on me. That's my apologies. Sorry, Chad, if I just made you yawn as well. All right, Psystorm on the way, +2 also on the way. And it's a large amount of gateways coming in as well. 5 gateways being warped in. 1 just finishes up. This is going to be a little bit of annoying damage here as Stats is able to attack on multiple fronts here. But Armani is starting to macro a little bit out of control if your Stats. 150 to 129 does have a nice sizable army here in Roach Ravager. And he is going to toss down a Spire as well. So Armani going to grab every piece of tech and the kitchen sink. Does have a 4th base already secured. Armani's going to leverage this, I think. He's going to move forward with his Roach Ravager army. He's got a lot of Ravagers. This is a really good call against the immortal count of his opponent. There's only 3, but good amount of Biles will be available to nuke down different buildings. He is going to be able to get on top of all of those gateways. 1 gateway immediately going to fall. The 2nd gateway going down as well. He doesn't want to overcommit. He knows that his opponent is going to be rotating around to pincer him. Now, Psystorm is complete. We can't see the energy on those units. It looks like he's got a few Psystorms available. But Armani going to do a nice job with those with those biles to keep zoning out his opponent. Second Psystorm goes down. A couple more do really coat the army there. Armani going to be forced to back away. And oh my gosh, his supply just plummets. He takes some really, really bad engagements here as he is going to be forced back to his side of the map. He's going to remax on 17 Mutalisk. What a madman. What a madman. Who sees Archons and High Templar and goes, you know what I need? 20 mutas. Armani does. Apparently good Zerg players absolutely do. Yeah, but it's going to come at the cost of his 4th base. Armani's going to run across the map with his Roach Ravager Ling and try and get on top of the 4th base of stats as well. And he's going to hope that these Mutalisks can clean this up. But he's got to be careful. Those Archons are going to be so effective against those Mutalisks. 13 workers going down. The 4th base of stats does get picked off as well. So it is an okay trade. But this is getting to be a bit of a dangerous situation here for Armani. Armani does have a sizable army count. But the army of stats is so anti-Mutalisk. Now, the Cyber Core does get picked off once again. So, no Stalkers going to be warped in at this time. But all of the units of Armani going to get picked off as well. Yeah, the layer's going to go down. Spire is already down. In fact, I think that's going to be all the tech. About the only thing that Armani can make right now are Zerglings. Actually, all of his hatcheries are gone. So Armani's got to be careful. He's going to be revealed in just a moment. He's pulled all of his workers. He's got 27 workers over in the corner. But this is getting to be scary damage here. Yeah, Armani's already been spotted. All of his workers being caught out on the map. And if you're Armani, what do you do? Okay, he does have a hatchery incoming. Stats is going to take a chunk of his army and try and go back home with this. The mutas are very, very flimsy. Both of those army counts are almost identical. The biggest difference right now is that Stats does have one mining base. He's lost 41 workers, but he's still got 24 mining off of one base, which is more than Armani has going for him right now. Stats with a little bit of a bank as well, but no production. Oh, this is such a scrappy game by these two players. Trying desperately to get a surround on these units. If he can engage his Roach Ravager Ling with the Mutalisk, he'll be able to get a nice surround and a good engagement. These Mutalisks going to try and pick off this Nexus, and they don't want to linger too long. Those Adepts or those Archons get so much damage, but it's just one warp gate right now. Stats working on trying to add 3 more warp gates at the front of his 3rd and 4th. But he has just such a great coverage on his mining bases. Armani at this point does have his hatchery down, so he does have a little bit of mining to speak of. He's losing lots of Mutalisk, and Stats is only increasing his army at this point. And I think Armani has to recognize that this is happening right now. Oh, and it's actually double Stargate. This is getting very, very difficult for this is very, very difficult for Armani to deal with. So, rough situation here for Armani to deal with. He's doing a nice job of picking off the pylons, which is going to make it impossible for those Phoenix to enter the map. So, big supply block happening here. But Armani just does not have anything to deal with this ground army back at home. So he's got to be very careful. And I think Armani's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to get on top of these Phoenix. There's 4 Phoenix here working this out right now. I know that he's got a Neon Crystals on his sights, but he just doesn't have any resources. Oh, those were very, very exposed to High Templar, and I know Armani was very, very worried about trying to engage on top of those. So the Fleet Beacon has been spotted. He is going to try and jump on top of all of these pylons to get those shut down. Does not want to see any more Phoenix hit the field. Oh, so much damage going down by these High Templar. But again, this is the damage that Armani really does not have an answer for. Some Biles go down. He's going to make Stats dance. But Stats is such a good position here. He can just continue moving forward with this army. Some great force fields going down. Spine Crawlers will be able to help anchor this down. But there's just so much damage, so much bulk to this army. And the Mutas are unable to be a part of this fight. And that's almost half of the army supply of Armani at this point. Ooh, those were some good Biles. More storms, though, are going to make this really hard, and he gets completely zoned out of his 4th base. Meanwhile, those Mutalisks are up at the 4th base location. They do get on top of a base, but 2 more Phoenix come popping out. The other 4 Phoenix are going to fly back across the map. The Muta count's getting dangerously low here. Armani is in big trouble. Yeah, and this is now going to be too much for Armani to deal with. GG is going to be called, and Stats taking game number 1 in this second match. So a bit of a slow start, but it gets wound up and rolling here. So we are going to have to see where this takes us now. The team of Brain, the team of Big Brother Cure, taking their first damage in this series. We're going to have to see where this heads. It's either going to be Solar or Cure. Solar already has 1 all kill in this team league this season. So it is possible that Solar could come out and do that once again. But I wouldn't be surprised after seeing 4 ZVPs go down that Cure could come out and try and anchor down a TVP to keep that matchup at least a little bit mixed. Would not be surprised to see that happen. Everybody's brain locking in here as we get set up for map number 2. We'll have to see where we head. Who's it going to be? Who it's going to be against? Armani isn't quite Sue when it comes to Muta base trade. Yeah, I think there's a lot of players that aren't quite Sue when it comes to pretty much anything. Especially winning 2nd place. He's kind of the best at that. He's absolutely going to be a TVP here. Stats in the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire. And his opponent in the bottom left. It is going to be Cure. So we are going to get this mixed up here. We are going to have a TVP. Once again, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out. I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying the cast and supporting Alpha X and Afrika TV as they bring you some awesome team content here, getting ready for GSL Season 2. I mean, on top of that as well, we're starting to see a circuit events get underway for the year as DreamHack Summer Qualifiers start this week. Of course, today will be a good chunk of the Eastern Asia qualifiers, as well as North American qualifiers starting later today. So I'll be casting those over on twitch.tv. If you want to catch more great StarCraft 2 action, I certainly encourage you to check it all. We've got great circuit players. We've got great GSL players. All sorts of amazing content right now in 2020. Now we are going to have to shift gears here from ZVP to TVP as we get wound up here. Stats trying to delay this natural expand of Cure, at least a little bit, but Cure with a very good SEV micro is able to push that up and away and get him moving forward in this game 2 of our second match. Again, Big Brother Q are looking to try and secure a 4-0 team win victory in this bracket. They're playing their final match right now. They will not have a match to play tomorrow. So if they can win out 4-0, they will secure that #1 seed in the bracket, which would be very valuable. Would put them up against the #4 seed and give them a very clear shot into the finals on Friday, which would not be such a bad deal. And they've played really well and they've worked really hard. Bunker going to go down here at the front as the Adept shades in to get a little bit of scouting done. And actually that shade is going to be allowed to finish. It's a bit of an interesting play here. I think that is going to get picked off. Oh, the Reaper Grenade. Oh, thought the Reaper Grenade was going to accidentally bump that out of range for Cure, but able to pick that off right before the shade completes. So this is going to be Blink Stalker on the way, Robotics Facility coming in as well. A Starport going down, so a nice and easy 1-1-1 for our blue Terran. As he does get across the map here with a Hellion and a Reaper to do a little bit of scouting. Wants to try and get a look at his Terran opponent, or his Protoss opponent, excuse me. Gets a nice little Reaper grenade to work his way into the natural. Gonna pick off a couple of workers. But he is going to see the 3 warp gates going down at the front of the natural. We'll be able to take the Reaper up and get a full scout as well. And behind this, he's going to toss down 2 barracks. He's going to get a couple of tech labs going as well. And there's a pretty decent scout here for Cure. Cure going to be able to operate on as much information as he possibly can. Gets across the map with the medevac. Sorry. I keep forgetting I can't click on that screen. I pause it if I do. Medevac's going to get in here with a mine drop, and that is going to get us into place. Sorry about the little production hitch there. And that's going to be a good mine drop as it does work its way in. Does not connect with a whole lot, but Stats unable to get on top of the medevac will be able to pick up one of those mines and gets out. That mine will live to explode another day. But now it is going to be a Stalker drop moving across the map with a lot of warping potential. He's got 4 gateway, and Cure does not have a whole lot behind this, so Stats could potentially get a lot of damage done here. 8 Stalkers with Blink will be able to get up into the main base. But Cure going to try and get that second wave of damage here. There's no pull. 6 probes going to go down. Cure going to find the damage he's looking for. So now, what can Stats do in this position? Concussive shells are going to be finished up here in just a moment. So more damage going to be incoming behind them. Blink is already done. He's going to blink on top of this bunker, and that bunker's immediately going to follow. There are a couple of Marauders here with concussive shells, but once again, with that Warp Prism micro and Blink, he will be able to utilize both of those to keep his Stalkers alive for the most part. Yeah, but Stats has got to be careful. There's a lot of bio here, and Stats is definitely down on the army supply, 41 to 36. But for the most part, I mean, this feels a little aggressive for Stats. There is no third base back behind this. And he's just going to continue blinking forward here with these Stalkers, trying to get as much damage done as he can. Medevac's getting some really good heal on all of these bio units, and Cure able to play very efficiently with these units. Mine's not getting the damage that they're looking for here. Good blink forward here with a chunk of the Stalkers. We'll try and work away. The workers do get pulled off the line. Big blink forward with all of the Stalkers here. Stalker's going to get on top of all of the units. Both the medevacs go down, and Stats has got to be feeling really good about this damage, but Cure able to zone them off once again, only losing 3 workers off of that push. So Cure staying ahead on the worker count, He manages to stay ahead on the army count as well. And another mine drop is going to get into the main base of Stats. 4 more workers going to get picked off. The second mine not going to get as much damage, but five probes going down, limiting the amount of mining that is done here as well. Stats is finally going to have to push this off. He's going to have to respect this a little bit. I think he's just going to blink up into the main, though. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about blinking up into the main with that Warp Prism. But he does have a transition in mind behind this. Robotics Bay going down as well. The Observer does get picked off, and now finally Cure is able to shove this off. Cure in a good position economically. Has a little bit of a worker lead. It does have that extra lead with the mules, but also maintaining a strong army lead here, 47 to 29. And he is able to move across the map with these mines once again. That Warp Prism continuing to be a pest. Third base started in production, but Stats is going to make sure that gets put on hold here as he does pick off the worker. He's going to trade 4 stalkers for his trouble. All in all, 22 stalkers going down. Cure and Stats trading about the same amount of resources in both directions. So now Cure feeling really confident here. He does have the army supply behind this. 59 to 25. It's going to move out across the map and put on some pressure of his own. Scans ahead, sees that that third base is almost complete. In fact, it just now finishes up. So that is an anchorable position here for Stats to try and defend. There is a shield battery going down. We'll have a little extra oomph in the defense here. And Colossus are already hitting the field. Extended Thermal Lance just now finishing up, +1 finishing for Cure in just a moment, so he will have 1-1. The Observer sitting up top of the Xel'Naga Tower will see the army of Cure. Cure not comfortable with the position that he's in, is just going to pick up and move backwards a little bit. But it's going to be in a Ghost Academy on the way for Cure. So Ghost will be a nice addition to this army, being able to coat EMPs to take care of shields of his opponents. There's going to be 4 more gateways on the way, so 8 gate production for Stats incoming. And Stats going to need it. He is just kind of categorically down right now, 136 to 108. He is down significantly in army supply, but he's hanging on economically, actually maintaining a 2-probe worker lead. Darkstrine's going to be incoming here as well. More than likely just used to provide Archon support. But those DTs have proved very, very annoying and effective in previous games, being able to run those by. There are no proxy pylons out on the map, and Cure does have a couple of run-by locations scouted with that factory up in the air. So he's going to make that more difficult for Stats to get some of that secret damage done. Now he is going to scout that move out to the 4th base location with the mine. So not only is he going to see the army rotate to the left-hand side, he is going to know that a 4th base is on the way. And as Cure is really not going to commit that far into army. Warp Prism speed is already here and on the map, and he's going to find a nice little dark corner to warp in some of those zealots. Now, Cure is going to get on top of this 4th base here. That 4th base is going to be forced to cancel. That will not be allowed to complete. But Stats has already got something drawn up here. He's got a Zealot run-by running into the main base. Good force field's going to choke up a good chunk of the Cure's army, but it's going to be these DTs running into the main base here that will be difficult to deal with. Cure has a very significant army lead, but the sophistication of his army is a little bit on the lacking side here, as he doesn't have anything that can see this DT without scanning. And that's going to make this a very difficult engagement here for Cure. Stats doing a great job holding this down. Look at the army supplies level out here. Cure is able to build behind this, but Stats, having played almost 40 army supply down, bringing it within 20, that's an excellent trade. He did end up sacrificing 6 workers for it, so it was not for free. But he is in a good position here to reposition and get himself secured. So Stats going out to his 4th base once again. He's trying to keep an eye on where these base locations are at. Still no 4th base on the way for Cure. Actually, no, it's floating onto position right now. Clearly, I cannot see... I cannot see the, oh. Well, that's interesting. Uh-oh. Oop, sorry about the connection issues here. Experiencing a little bit of slowdown. Hopefully that is temporary at most. Sorry about that. Just had a little bit of frame issues, but I think we are good to go. So thanks so much for being patient with me on that as we continue moving forward in the series. We're into the 14-minute mark. So Cure and Stats gonna drag this out into a bit of a bigger game. We are going to see Blink DTs. Fear Dragon would be losing his mind right now seeing GSL pros researching DT Blink. Ghost's going to try and get an EMP off on a good chunk of the army. Not going to quite connect. Oh, man. Man, if only we had Fear Dragon on speed dial right now so he could witness the greatness that is about to happen here. But of all the players that would do cheeky, cheesy stuff, it would be Stats. And Stats is going to try and drop these DTs in 2 different locations here, trying to make the most of this situation. In fact, the 2nd base actually got picked up and floated away. That's going to be brought out to the 5th base location. I suppose at this point in the game, he's certainly able to. I mean, both his main and his natural already mined out. Zest is doing DT Blink all the time these days. Oh man, I wish I would have seen it yesterday. That would have been a great addition to Zest's reverse all kill. But that's good to know. Oh, it's just got to warm the coddles of his heart, though. 7 DTs on the way. Ooh. Stat's going to just make that a part of his army here. It's going to force Cure to scan. Definitely not getting into those... not going to be able to get into... the scans or the mules, excuse me, as deep as he would like to. But behind this, +3 on the way for the infantry of Cure. He's got a fair amount of ghosts here, and he's got a good amount of marauders. Those are going to be very effective here, picking off one of those gateways. The ghosts trying to get as much as possible. If an EMP can go down on top of those DTs, the DTs will be visible and very, very exposed. Plus, it's +3, 3-3 on the way for both players. So Cure's 3-3 about to finish up, but Stats is the 3-3. A little bit off as well. So got a little bit to go to catch up in that regard. But Cure trying to abuse a little bit of this ramp area. If he can hold this down, he can make this very difficult for Stats to get on top of. And he is going to pick off all 3 of those gateways in the wall. Good EMP coats the DTs, but these are the DTs that he needs to be worried about here. DT blinks forward in both locations. That planetary is immediately going to fall. This is getting to be a very scrappy situation here for Cure. Cure does maintain a bit of an army lead, but it's going to be a matter of how long he can hold on to that. Great EMP onto the DTs. It's so weird to see the DTs not cloaked. But that's what you get when you drop an EMP onto a cloaked unit. Is it immediately becomes decloaked. All right, 3-3 about to finish up here for stats. +2 ship weapons already done for Cure, going to make those. Well, wait a minute. Those are ship weapons. He's only got 2 Vikings at this point. He must be trying to prepare for more Viking attack here. Quite the interesting position here. He's going into that +3 ship weapons. Cure's got something drawn up in his head that he's just not telling any of us just yet. Some very good splits on those disruptors. A good bio. 2 good bio chunks get taken out by disruptors here. Cure trying to trade as effectively as possible. He's going to be able to get on top of this base, but he can't ignore these units forever. He can't just turn onto there. He's not quite done. Good Zealot warp in. We'll be able to shove that back as well. But Cure trying to trade as effectively and efficiently as possible. 7 workers do goes down for Zest. Zest, stats. Why do I keep thinking this is Zest? My brain is just turned off here. I'm so sorry here. My brain's getting a little sleepy again. It's gonna have to have a morning nap or something. Now there is 1 nuke on the way here. That is gonna go down at the 3rd base location, but stats all already on top of it. Does get a chance to shut that down. But he now knows that nukes are a possibility with these ghosts. Ghosts not just going to be used for EMPs or snipes, but definitely working to get on top of the army here. 10 workers have gone down on Cure's side of the map. Where did those happen? Oh, it's DT here. That DT should get cleaned up here. Oh, jumping on top of both of those Colossi. That's a great pickoff for Cure. Cure trying to keep maintaining this supply lead that he has. He's got a great chunk of army being split here. Marauders being extra efficient. Concussive shells being so annoying for stats to try and deal with. More warpins of Zealots going to be effective, but becoming very difficult to deal with as Cure is able to drop on multiple spots in the map all at once. Another nuke in production. We're going to try and be more annoying, make stats go searching for all of those nukes. And it's a rather low worker economy here for Cure, 54 to 61. He's got those mules at his disposal, but look at how efficient Cure has been able to be with his army units, saving himself almost 4,000 minerals over his opponent. But Stats is not out of this just yet, continuing to warp in more of those stalkers to help blink back and forth, keep positioning against his army. Only 3 DTs left, so I think he's starting to move out of the DT positioning here. And he is going to get a nice engagement here at the 4th base location. These Colossi going to be able to engage on top of the gas. The Rich Vespene Geyser is going to be vulnerable. One base does have to get lifted here. I think it is going to get away, so it's not going to fall immediately, but that is going to be more delayed mining time here for Cure. So what was already a slight worker disadvantage is now going to be continued by the fact that he's not going to be able to mine for a little bit. But he is going to be able to get out to this base. The workers will return. I think he really would like that that Rich Vespene Geyser, though, and it looks like he's going to drop an extractor on it once again. We're going to have access to that. These Marauders doing lots of work for him. But now he does have a good Viking count here to work against the Colossi, and he's dialed something up big here. Big pincer here of the DTs and the army here of Stats. trying to make the most of the situation, and Stats actually takes an army supply lead for a brief amount of time. Where is the rest of Cure's army? It is coming down from the left side of the map. I think Cure has to respect this army that's coming here, as it is going to be going after some of his mining bases, and he needs to get on top of this. A couple of Marauders get picked off by the Disruptors. Disruptor shots getting dangerously close. They do ignite on a couple of the chunks of army here. And oh my goodness, we are finding ourselves in a bit of a long production cycle here. 14 workers going down for Cure, as Stats is able to start securing a little bit of a lead here. Just not being as efficient as he was at the beginning of this game here. Some great EMPs are going to get down on top of this army. These Archons are rather exposed here, but Cure is just not ready to engage on top of all of this, and all of these Colossi are going to be super effective against this army. 8 more workers going down behind this. A big run by at Cure's 5th base. This is going to be really, really painful damage here. And GG is called. And what looked like a possible victory here for Cure turns into a quick 2-0 for Stats. And Stats is on the verge of doing an all-kill against Big Brother Cure. And this is kind of an important moment here for Team Why Are You Here, as they are looking to move a little bit up on the ladder of this bracket. So very, very important moment here as we are on match point. Do you want to take an opportunity to, just in case this is our last game, we want to take an opportunity to thank one of our sponsors in G Fuel. G Fuel, a great supporter of Alpha X and everything that we are doing here at this point in our casting and production career. We're so grateful for all that they bring to the table. G Fuel having great products to support gamers everywhere by giving you quality access to energy through some of their great mixes and shakes. We really encourage you to try some of their products. G Fuel, the official drink of esports, and we're so grateful for all that they bring to the table for Alpha X and all that they do to support esports in 2020. So if you get an opportunity, tell them thanks. Support their products, give them a try. They've got a great tasting lineup of drinks. Their most recent concoction is bubblegum, their nostalgic taste on a time-tested tradition, and we really encourage you to give that a try. And again, support them and tell them thank you for supporting Alpha X and StarCraft 2 in 2020. We are getting set up and ready to go. It is going to be Solar against Stats in the final teammate of Big Brother Cure. Now, Solar's done it before. He has secured an all-kill in day number 1. Will we see another reverse sweep today in our match number 2? We're just going to have to see. We're going to see if Stats is going to continue to play incredibly crazy and sneaky, or if Solar's got something dialed up for him to keep him on the back foot and get him a secured place on the bracket. Again, Solar, if he can execute the reverse sweep, will secure Big Brother Cure a undefeated team win ratio in this season, would lock in the number 1 seed. Very, very important. So we are going to have to see what happens here as we get ready to go. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with me. So many awesome people here. I know you've got great options for StarCraft 2 content this morning, and I'm so glad that you are spending time hanging out with me. My name is Rushy. Hope you are enjoying my cast of day 4 of the Afrika TV Alpha X BJ Destruction League Season 2. And here we are. We are set and ready to go. We're going to be moving into map number 3. On the verge of an all kill here is our red Protoss and stats. Standing in his way on Pillars of Gold is our blue Zerg, Solar. Protoss players have been rather cheeky in this tournament getting out to that second base of our Zerg players. So I think it's very, very interesting watching our Korean Zerg players struggle with the timing of getting that hatchery down. A lot of the Zerg players have been committing into a 17 hatch against Protoss, and I'm wondering if there's a specific reason behind that. I'd love to know more about that. Seems like a lot of the circuit players have adapted that play style, dropping a 16 hatchery to make sure that they can get that natural down on time before that pylon scout makes it across the map. But I'm sure there is some sort of reason for going for that. But Solar is going to have to take his second base down at the third location. Once again, not devastating damage. Pillars of Gold does have a little bit of distance between these 3 bases. So not insignificant delay time here for stats. The stat's going to continue to be a pest in Solar's main. And we're going to have to see if Solar has got something special dialed up here for stats. That's going to opt to open rather normal. Looks like the Korean casters are talking about the wall potential here on Pillars of Gold. I think you do need 3 of those wider buildings to be able to zone that off. But that's pretty standard. It's going to be a Twilight Council for stats. That's going to try one more time with the Glaive Adept timing here, it appears, in game number 3. And here comes the robotics facility, actually in the front wall. So it is only going to be one gateway at this point. So I'm actually interested to see this. Okay, second gateway going to go down as well. This is going to be a Glaive Adept timing once again. But now Solar does see the robotics facility. So as the Zerg player, you have to start thinking here. Okay, what's going to possibly come out of this robotics facility? We're going to see an Immortal at some point. We're more than likely going to see a Warp Prism. But he doesn't have explicit vision of the Glaive Adepts just yet. And now 3 more gateways going down. So this will be 4-gate pressure once again. It's worked really great against Armani in game number 1. And Stats looking to execute it again here in game number 3. Secure his team the all-kill victory. And position themselves much more favorably on the bracket, tying 3 Zerg with second place. But now I think Solar is going to respond to this a lot better than Armani did. He does throw down that Roach War, and he does have Lings incoming, and Lings will be important for the initial block and the initial defense, but he does need something with a little bit more sturdiness to deal with the Adepts over the course of time. And those Roaches are going to be rather effective. The creep spread, it does look like it connects at least the second and the third. There's not a lot of distance to walk between the natural and the main off of creep. But here comes the initial aggression. The first shade up is going to happen. I don't know if this is going to be allowed to finish, but he does see that the Roach Warren is in production. Ling's going to move out across the map to deal a little bit more damage. The Stalker will get low, but I don't know if it's going to get picked off. It does, in fact, get picked off, but it does come at the cost of every single Ling there. Not a big Ling investment, but there's no potential for a continued run by at that point. All right, Queens and Ling's gonna try and zone this out. The Adepts actually get a really decent position here, trying not to get entirely surrounded. But so many of those Adepts are gonna get picked off here. Solar with a good defense so far. Oh, Queen's kind of caught out a little bit. Those Adepts are going to get picked up, and Stats already so far behind in this game number 3. Gonna have another big warp in here. There is no third base back behind this just yet, so this is a rather all-in scenario here for Stats. And Solar has got a really good position here so far. Yeah, Stats gonna now have to try and reposition in this series. Still no third base. It does look like he's got a probe out at the third base location, but I don't know if one is gonna be incoming or not. Immortal gonna have to hold up the wall, and at least for right now against Zerglings, that's not a bad call. Yeah, Stats is in a bit of a pickle right now. Stalker's gonna get up here into the main base, try and deal some more damage. They will trade an okay against the Zerglings, but not the damage that he's looking for, and he's only now going to be able to get out to his third base. Solar just in such a great position here. He has his lair. He's already getting roach speed down. He's able to mitigate so much of the damage of these Adepts and Stalkers. That Warp Prism dangerously low. Only a couple taps away from the Queen. And I think if you lose that Warp Prism, you pretty much lose all of the teeth in this push. So behind this, Stat's going to try and get his third base secured. He does have a couple of Immortals out on the map. Robotics Bay coming down as well. Going to pick up those Disruptors, try and get himself a couple of lucky shots and get himself back into this game. Ooh, okay, so the Stalkers actually pick off the Queen. So now this Warp Prism, which does have a full energy, will be able to continue getting damage done. It is going to force a large chunk of the army back here for Solar. Nice little Ling drop in coming in here, and this is gonna surprise his Protoss opponent here. No pull on that worker line just yet. Those Lings are going to be able to get so much damage done. 3 workers get killed before the probe line gets pulled. And now Solar's going to be able to just come across the map with all of these Roaches and Ravagers. He's got 97 army supply to 49. He's almost double his opponent. And this is going to be a very difficult hold here for Stats to deal with. Good Ravager count will be able to mitigate the impact of these force fields. A good battery overcharge, but once again, Solar just able to get on top of all of this to zone the army of Stats out of the way. Some very good micro against that Disruptor, only losing 1 Ravager. And GG is called. Solar has begun. He has begun the reverse. He has gotten his team out of the steamroll that was Stats. And we are going to move ourselves to a game number 4. So it's going to be either Zest or Special. My guess would be that we're going to see Special next. We're going to see a TVZ. Special does have a pretty nice win rate against Zerg, making that an interesting position here for him to play from. Yeah, it's actually his best win rate, 65% win rate against Zerg. So I would not be surprised to see Special coming out here in game number 4 to try and slow down a player in Solar who, again, showed us in day number 1 that he's capable of taking all of this power all by himself. Sorry once again, folks, for some of the connection issues here. Experiencing just a little bit of upload. Not exactly sure what's happening this morning. But my sleepy town is only just waking up. So, my apologies. So hopefully not going to experience this for too long. Seems to just be really intermittent. But once again, thank you for being so patient on that. I do appreciate that a lot. As we do get set up and ready to go for game number 4. Come on. Come on, internet. Yeah. Alrighty. I am wrong. We are going to see Zest coming out to face Solar. Solar in the bottom left-hand corner looking to try and complete the sweep here. It is going to be Zest for yet another ZVP. Look, now that Zest is actually on the map, my brain's going to be like, stats. So Special, going to be saved as the last player here in this team. Man, and Zest getting out there super fast. Solar even going out on a 16 drone count. The Protoss players are learning. They're improving. They're getting better. Whew. Yeah, my sleepy brain here is in need of a pick-me-up as we are getting ourselves ready to go here for yet another series. Zest's going to try and be as annoying as possible as we get ourselves worked up here. It is going to be a typical gateway expand behind this for Zest. So outside of the initial slowdown here for Solar, moving himself out to his third base, not in a bad position. And in fact, I think Solar, even just the way that he took his drones, actually mitigated a little bit of that damage, being able to pick up that extra worker and buy himself a little bit of time so he could arrive at that third base location with exactly 300 minerals. So not making it perfect, but is able to still get as much done as he possibly can. Zest's gonna pretend he's a drone here for a little bit and just going out. Nothing to see here, guys. Just a drone like you guys, right? It is gonna be Twilight Council once again. So we are going to see that Glaive Adept timing come out again. We're gonna see if Zest can execute it a little bit stronger than Stats did in game number 3. Solar's already shown that he's really good at blocking this off, so he is creating himself a good position to at least be able to defend this, and gets his creep spread going right now. Zest kind of putting himself in position. We should be seeing that upgrade starting here any moment now. Oh, he's going to change it up, though. It is going to be a Dark Shrine. So Zest's going to get a little sneaky here in game number 4. Zest wants to close this out and secure the win against Big Brother Cure, who is looking for the reverse sweep to give themselves a 4-0 victory in this team league, but Zest is not going to let them have it that easily, if at all possible. So I think he's going to try and fake it, though, here. He does have a fair amount of adepts moving out across the map alongside the Warp Prism. So Solar has got to be thinking that, okay, this is going to be another adept timing, but there is no Roach Warren behind this. I think Solar's reading this perfectly. He's got spores down on the way. He's going to have that vision. I think he's reading this perfectly. Yeah, and Solar's got to know that this is incoming. Yeah, already has those spore crawlers in sight. Oh, what a great read by Solar. So good. Behind this, Zest is not going to delay. He is going to get out his third base, immediately morphing into Archons. So Archons will be the backup response here. Roach is already on the way, but those Lings are going to tear across the map and try and see if they can get some damage done. He's got a fair amount of Lings here. He's got 28 army supply. There are only 4 Adepts here, and they have not gotten the pocket that they are hoping for. I think it might be good enough, though. The Archons are getting a fair amount of damage done, though, but Queens being very effective will be able to shove that off, and those Archons will have to fly away, at least for the short term. So Lair is now complete here for Solar. We got Roach Speed incoming. And if you're Zest, you're definitely wanting to transition into a little bit more of a standard army composition. Solar has done his part to deflect the DT timing. And he's already got Roaches out on the field. He's got 6 more in production. These Lings are going to start streaming into that third base location once again and deal some more damage. That is going to force a recall back at home, but what are the units that are going back? Oh, it's going to be the Warp Prism with the Archons. That's a good call. The DTs do manage to pick off 1 Queen for their efforts, and they do get all the way back out once again. So we're just kind of getting ourselves situated into a little bit of a macro game. Solar and Zest going to try and drag this out and see if they can outlast one another, which is great. It's a great position for us to be in because that gives us some great StarCraft 2 action, and we'll see a ZVP that can go the distance here. Those Lings continuing to be a nuisance, dropping in on top of all of the transferring probes. Some good damage here going down on the 4th base, at least pressuring that 4th base of Solar, wanting to get out to that forward 4th base so he can have access to that Rich of Vespene Geyser. Is going to help him with his Roach production. If he wants to try and get into Hydras and Lurkers. A nice wall here at the 3rd base for Zest will create at least a little bit of buffer for those Ling run-bys. Yep, and exactly the case right there. Those Ling run-bys not going to be able to zip on in. Solar carrying a very surprising army lead right now, 66-43. More gateways incoming. In fact, 5 more being warped in as we speak. Ravager is going to be coming down in great numbers, and Solar getting into that strong army composition that has won him numerous games in the BJ Destruction League already. So looking to try and capitalize on that again. He is picking up a Spire behind this too. So we've also seen the power of that, where that very quick Muta transition. Sue did that a lot in match number 1 today. Getting on top of the flying units of your opponent, forcing your opponent to start getting into Phoenix if at all possible. But right now, no Stargates on the map for Zest, so Zest's not going to be able to make that easy transition at this point. But Solar with such a great army supply here, 184 to 123. He's got double the army of his opponent. He should just be able to storm on in here and get on top of this army. Psystorm not quite done just yet, so he is going to pounce at a good timing here. One of those gateways does get picked off and set into place. I was kind of thinking that Solar had a bit of a surround here, but he has all of his units here on the bottom side. Great Ravager count will be able to minimize the damage of the force fields. Zest is just trying to buy time. 3 seconds until Psystorm is done. And Solar is baited so far in here, and now those storms are complete. Solar's going to have to respect that and push back off and away. A little bit of a stutter there, actually not from our side, so very interesting of seeing that. But it is going to be that Muta switch up. 16 Mutas on the way. Solar had so much gas banked up, and now is going to be able to use those Mutas to his advantage. And he's going to keep the pressure on here. The wall is down at the third base, and I think as long as he can keep all of these units of Zest over at the third base location, Solar's going to be able to punish him with these mutas at the main. And there they go. Only one cannon stands between him and an open base, and so many mutas just going to come pouring on in. This is going to be very, very scary for Zest to deal with. Solar's maxed out. He has got so much option here. Zest does have a bit of a bank, but he just doesn't have the production that he needs to deal with this. A good Zealot run by is going to clean up 6 workers at the fourth base location. Solar is going to have to come back and deal with that, but the mutas in the main are still running rampant here. 9 workers going down, and the potential to rotate back to deal with this army is so available here. Those mutas going to jump on top of the High Templar, 2 of them going down almost immediately. He's going to pick off the last one as well. So no more storms available in this army. These Lings are able to pour on forward. They're going to deal so much damage against these Stalkers and Immortals. One Immortal actually getting left behind here. Solar backing out of that fight just a little bit too quick. And now without the storms of Zest, these Stalkers are going to be in a bit of an awkward position, and GG is called. Solar taking game number 2. Can he do it again? Can he do it once more? Unbelievable. We might see 2 reverse sweeps today in our back-to-back series. Outstanding play by our players here. So it is going to be special here. I'm just so excited. I'm a little caught off guard. I'll admit. Kind of at a loss of words here. But again, I mean, Solar's shown us that he's perfectly capable of getting this done and wants to clean this off, and he's going to do it off of the back of 2 ZVPs. Very strong play. And now he just needs to clear one last hurdle in special, and he will be able to secure the 4-0 victory for his team. Very, very interesting play here. So our last game, this is going to be our second ace match of the day. Outstanding. Thank you so much for being around. I'm so glad that you're able to share this excitement with me as we get ready to wrap up our day number 4 of the BJ Destruction League Season 2. TY's got to be sitting there going, all right, come on, my boy's special here. My boy's special. Gonna make the most of this situation here. And this is going to be the last game of our production. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. We are set and ready to go. We'll be jumping in here in a moment. I'm gonna wait for the head nod from Caster Park. Gonna give us the indications that we need to get what we need to go. But yeah, lots and lots of, this is actually going to be 3 back-to-backs. Because, we ended with a reverse sweep in match 2 yesterday. So the curse is very real right now. Special has an opportunity, though, to stop that skid and prevent that final reverse sweep. We're going to have to see if he can do it here on Submarine. Spawning in the top left is Solar, Mr. Momentum. His opponent in the bottom right, our Red Terran in Special. Whew. Very exciting stuff here. I am excited to see if Solar can complete the reverse sweep, the 3rd reverse sweep, and all kill in this match number 2. Again, folks, so much of this would not be possible without our great sponsors in Manscaped, Titan EX1, and G Fuel. We are so grateful for the partnership that they share with Alpha X and all that they do to help support esports and StarCraft 2 in 2020. So if you have the opportunity, folks, please do take the advantage of checking out the services and all the different products that they have to offer. They are doing a great job in supporting our organization and giving us a chance to experience more great StarCraft 2 content here in 2020. So please do take the advantage to get that done. Support them. At bare minimum, tell them thank you. Tell them thank you for supporting StarCraft 2 and Alpha X, that you greatly appreciate it, because we certainly do appreciate all that they bring to the table for us. Also, a big shout out to Afrika TV for providing this awesome clean feed, allowing me to cast with great production value, so that way you can see some great, awesome Korean StarCraft 2 brought to you in an English cast. And I'm so glad that I'm able to bring that to the table for you. If you do enjoy that, feel free to let me know. I love hearing some feedback on my casting. I'm trying to become a better caster, as I am trying to also become a better player. And I appreciate any of the feedback that you are willing to share with me. So thank you so much for joining me and hanging out. We've got one last game here. It's our ace match between Solar and Special. ZVT on Submarine. And we are seeing both of our players open up pretty standard. Not too surprising. Seen a lot of standard opens here. I think it's only been a couple of ZVZs that we've seen where games have gotten a little hairy a little bit quick. But Special, a pretty standard macro player, doesn't play too terribly cheesy. Really has adapted that Korean Terran style that we see so much in all of our GSL events and in some of the BlizzCon and now Katowice qualifiers as well. So 1-1-1 on the way. Solar does get a chance to scout that out. Is going to see that there are Hellions incoming. Starport is going to see the tech lab. We're going to have to see if there is an armory on the way and a fusion core behind this. Or if it's just going to be Banshees. Oh, it is going to be a Raven. Special going to use that Raven to help keep the creep down on this side of the map. Now, I think that is interesting. He is going to fake the Banshee upgrade here as long as the Overlord is alive. So this is going to remain a secret, at least for now. But with it being a Raven, I mean, that's not anything that's too terribly crazy. I suppose he wants to try and get him into invest in those spore crawlers that he won't necessarily need, and trying to get a little more aggressive than maybe he would otherwise want. But the Raven's going to move across the map, trying to do a little bit of harassment. Actually, he's just going to go straight into harassing a mineral line with those auto turrets. Going to be a second Raven coming down as well. Very interesting style of play here, Special. Third command center on the way as well. It is going to be a Spire behind all of this for Solar. We're going to see Mutilating Bane, which is still pretty common against a Terran that is going largely bio. And he is going to drop 2 more barracks behind this. Oh, those Hellions getting very, very deep here. Those Queens actually almost able to cut off the retreat path and force those Hellions into a fight to the death. But Hellions able to sneak back out once again and cause more damage. But 3 drones do go down as a part of this. The second Raven is going to deal more damage in the third mineral line. So while the drones are not able to be picked off just yet, it's a large amount of denied mining that is going to be the damage that Special finds, which is not a bad situation if you are Special. So there's going to be more barracks coming down, large bio push coming for Special. Is 1-1 on the way, Stimpack being researched as well. 9 drones so far picked off. So Special going the slow and steady route, trying to take care of all of these workers. Now, 8 mutas are going to hit the field, and those Ravens are immediately going to lose a lot of their value. So already pulling one of those Ravens back home. Doesn't want to lose both of them to whatever may be coming. But I don't think that Special has scouted that Spire just yet. So now those Ravens going to change into their secondary purpose of just trying to find the creep and dealing with it. Oh, very, very good contamination on the tech lab of the barracks is going to prevent one of those upgrades from finishing here. Only one Raven left at this point. Those mutas making the most of their appearance here. Oh, it was actually Stimpack. So Stimpack's going to be delayed by just a little bit. I think it is still going to time up almost identically to 1-1. So that's not crazy damage by any stretch. But here come the mutas into the main, or the natural mineral line. Yeah, without having that stim just yet, those mutas are able to get more damage done, start picking off more of those Marines that get on top of production. 3 workers do go down, so not crazy economy loss. But Special is feeling a little bit of the burn right now. Behind all of this for Solar, Baneling Speed just now finishes up 1-1 on the way. And in fact, it's just on the way. That's going to be a long ways from being finished. So that will be a bit of a decrease between him and his opponent, Solar, who already has his 1-1. Second Raven is going to get cleaned up. These Marines now able to engage on top of the Mutalisk with their Stimpack upgrade. And we are going to see Solar continuing to harass and deal damage as much as he can on Special side of the map. There's a lot of Lingbane, though. Lingbane slowly getting itself booted up here. This Marine going to try and get some scouting done. Literally one tap does deal it in. That +1 flyer upgrade as well going to finish up here for Solar. Trying to get on top of the engineering bay, but is not going to quite connect. Ooh, Lingbane going to try and get into this choke. The tanks actually anchoring down that entire choke, making that a very good position to siege from for Special. Special able to protect those tanks and those valuable units. More Banelings on the way for Solar as he continues to try to protect his creep, which is now actually out towards the middle of the map. 5th base on the way. 4th base already secured and mining. Surprised we haven't seen mines introduced into the mix just yet, but Special does have a very storied history of playing StarCraft 2. Probably feels very comfortable with this Marine, tank, and medevac style composition. Solar is going to have to find a better way to engage on top of this. Without Ling and Bane, those mutas will not be able to engage. Solar is going to swing off to the right-hand side here. Try and catch the army in retreat. Those Banelings still not showing themselves just yet. They are going to get a jump on top of the reinforcing Marines. One tank is going to clean a lot of those up. But those do immediately get picked off. And now suddenly Solar kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, forcing Special back and forth here in between his natural and his 3rd. Special does lose 7 workers. Solar continues to anchor down that economy lead that he has, picking off 2 tanks for his trouble as well. That's a pretty decent amount of damage. Marines dangerously overstimmed here, and that ramp is not going to hold the same way it did the first engagement. And so many of these Marines are going to get picked off. The mutas come swooping in on the back side of this to deal more damage, and Solar just going to push forward. The wall stays down. So many Zerglings are going to just pour on into the natural, and GG is called, and Solar completes the reverse sweep, the third in a row. Unbelievable play. And with that win, Big Brother Cure secures the 4-0 flawless victory here in this team league. And they will secure themselves the #1 seed in our playoffs, as they do have a bye tomorrow. So outstanding play by Solar, showing that he can take the team. We might as well just start calling it Big Brother Solar at this point. A very, very good play by both of our teams. Yeah, reverse. Somebody needs to look at their Uno deck and see how many reverse cards they're missing, because right now it's 3. And it's two of one color and one of the other. I think we had 2 Protoss reverse sweeps. And now Afrika with the beautiful audio here showcasing Solar, who's able to secure the reverse sweep win over their opponents. So now, what are you doing here? Is now going to, or why are you here? Excuse me. Now going to slip down into third place. They will have to fight tomorrow against SSB to remain in the top side of the bracket. So very, very important wins coming their way. We've got one more day of regular play before we get set up for our playoffs on Thursday and Friday, so you won't want to miss our last day of play. Of course, you can see today's results here. SSB and Big Brother Cure securing reverse sweep victories. And here are your standings. Big Brother Cure securing that #1 seed. They will have a bye tomorrow, as the remaining teams will get to duke it out. 3 Zerg working to secure themselves second place, while SSB and Why Are You Here going to be fighting for that third place position. So tomorrow it will be Why Are You Here versus SSB, and the 3 Zerg going up against Beef Rice Stew. Beef Rice Stew does need to secure a win if they would like to try and be a part of the playoffs. 3 Zerg pretty much already in, but now it just comes down to seeding and positioning. They want to try and get themselves the best position they possibly can. And that'll be taking place same time, same place tomorrow right here on play.afrikatv.com. And that will be happening at 19 in Korea. That's a 5 a.m. start time in Central Daylight Time in North America. And if you're from Europe, that is going to be another noon start time. And that will be the end of our production today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and spending time watching some more great StarCraft 2 action. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. My name is Rushy. If you want to catch more of my content, you can find me at twitter.com/RushySC. Of course, if you'd like to see me cast more of the circuit qualifiers for the DreamHack Summer event, you can catch me at twitch.tv/RushySC. But for now, I'm going to be signing off, and I'm going to be taking a nap. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care.